It's back. It's back. The Super League is back. And do you know what has been interesting? Just through this entire day, I've actually been seeing a bit of back and forth. I've actually been seeing there's been warfare, there's been beef. There has been beef between EPL fans and La Liga fans. I think that we're about to see Prince Charlie invade Franco. I think Franco and Charlie are about to go to war right now, man. So that is how deep it's been, because I'm looking at my Twitter threads and all I'm seeing is La Liga's trash, blah. EPL trash is so greedy, La Liga's useless, and the amounts of vitriol between both sides is crazy. So I thought that, so I'm going to put this out to everyone, but I thought let's just get the panel guys in here first. So let me just get the panel guys in here, see what they think about this, and maybe after the hour, I will then probably try to open it up to the public. So I'll probably put out like the tweet out to the public so other guys can come through. But I just thought this would be good for the panel to discuss first and so forth. And look, where I'm with this is here. I just want some more details as to how this is going to work. When this first broke, I always said that I was a Super League guy, and I've always been pro Super League, because I'm all about let's see the best teams face the best teams. Shout out to Bournemouth, shout out to Pescara, shout out to Braunschweig, shout out to Baguette FC. Let's just be real. We know what we know what we're here for. We're here for the big dogs. So that's where I'm at with it, and I want to hear both sides, because I do feel that, is this La Liga poor and the companies because they are poor? Are EPL being a bit too arrogant? Isn't the Premier League already the Super League? Why does the Premier League don't want to open up to the Super League? So there's so many different facets to this and so forth. But at the end of the day, guys, we just want the best teams against the best teams. Okay, as I said again, shout out to Pescara and to Scunthorpe. Shout out to Scunthorpe. I respect Scunthorpe, but let's keep it a stack. Let's give it a stack. I want to come to Oz with this, man. Oz, where are you at with this whole thing, man? Oz.
First, I want to make sure everybody can hear me.
Yeah, man, we can hear you, bro. We can hear you. Wait, hold on. Are you wearing that because you want to get waves?
I have short hair, so like it feels right now.
Oh, okay. All right. So basically, you want to get waves. Okay, cool.
But no, the Super League. I feel like when we talk about the best teams playing the best teams, we have to make sure who the best teams are, because that right now that doesn't include Spurs, that doesn't include Atletico Madrid, that doesn't include Juventus. Like we want to see the best teams, yes. And I feel like You put City in that conversation. You put Madrid in that conversation. United, Chelsea in a perspective.
Chelsea, no. What, you need to pause. Why did you to pause? Chelsea, say it to your chest. Chelsea. Thank you. Yes,
All
Chelsea.
right,
Yes.
Barca, like all of these teams, these are the big teams that we want to see face each other. United versus Barca, that's a big game. Those are two big teams. So look,
No. Okay. What's your notion that the Premier League is already the Super League?
it absolutely is. Like, let's be real. This is Super
So
League.
okay. So would you rather watch United against Bournemouth or United against Barca or United against Real Madrid?
When I consider the Premier League as like the Super League, I'm talking about like the financial part of it. Because
Oh yeah. Okay.
if we look at the Premier, more people watch the Premier League. I don't know many people that watch La Liga, that watch Serie A. Like Premier League generates this crazy revenue.
Because of the top 6 teams.
Exactly, and
So think that it's not the top 20; it's the top 6.
absolutely, that's what makes the Super League. And we talk about this new Champions League format. I'm not a big fan of the new Champions League format. I don't understand. In my opinion,
it makes no sense.
It doesn't help the Champions League in any way possible. Actually, it hurts the other teams because you're playing more games for what reason? Just to see an extra game of United play or an extra game of Barca and Madrid playing. That, in my opinion, doesn't work. And I feel like Perez and all the Super League board members are trying to replicate what the UCL are trying to do. And first of all, 80 teams in multiple different competitions doesn't make sense. You might as well make the NFL. Like that's how I'm looking at it. Because you have
I think the idea is because when they first put it out, they were like, "Oh wow, it's just an exclusive club. What about promotion, relegation?" Okay, then everyone can eat now. There's now relegation and promotion through all the divisions now. So I think that's the idea of the 80 teams. I thought it's supposed to be like 20, but it is what it is.
But it's just all at the end of the day, it's all about money. The new UCL format, the Super League, it's all about how do you generate the most money. And if United are part of that conversation, you won't see me complain about it. But you see the other smaller teams, like in my opinion, I do like seeing that the Leicester Premier League title. I love that Ajax story.
How many times has that happened?
Exactly, that's the problem. That's the problem. Like you do not see it enough for people to be like, yeah, you want to see this story. You just don't
because what's so weird though is that, and I think we need to clear this up. This doesn't mean that the domestic league dies. You play the domestic league as well as the Super League. So this idea of like, oh, you're the Super League, there'll be no. While you're playing the domestic league, the Super League is happening as well.
But this
isn't against the National League; it's against the UCL. This is a fight against the UEFA, not against your National League.
The domestic leagues will have a problem with it though, because look, you have to. Now you're playing more games. In the Super League, you're playing crazy amount of games. I think there were
14.
Like
14 games.
14 is still a lot.
Minimum, at least 14 games.
So now you're conflicting with what the domestic leagues are trying to do, and that's where the domestic leagues
do we really? Okay, because I know you and Knicks are in the final, but do we really need the Karabuki Cup? Do we really need the Karabuki Cup?
I agree. I agree with the Karabuki Cup. Sorry, kind of Carabao Major competition.
No. Call it what it is. Karabuki. Yeah.
It should exclude teams who are playing European football. I've said that.
You have to think from the English standpoint. They want money too. It's not like everybody else. The Premier League wants to generate money. La Liga wants to generate money. Everybody, this whole thing's around money, and we all know this. We're not dumb. No. You have to understand that this is all generated because they want to make the most revenue. And I do see it. And as much as I do want the Super League to happen, because I'm a big fan of it, because I feel like I do want to see those big teams play each other. Because I'm tired of seeing the Bournemouth, and the thing is you're playing the risk of like the Leeds game that we just saw.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 times the United don't do that.
Yes. No. And that's my whole thing. Like, league, it's about tradition, and it's a tradition and so forth. And I think that's cool. And I think for me, I respect the whole thing of it's your community and your history and that idea of like that small team going up against Goliath and so forth. But this is what I always say to people: when you play FIFA, who plays as Baguette FC when you play FIFA? Who picks Pescara as No, you
On,
don't.
on,
No, you
on
don't.
Football Manager. On
Bro,
Football
they're
I said
PSG's over
FIFA.
is on
No,
FIFA.
no.
PSG is strong as shit.
No. Here's the thing. No, bro. There's a management game that I was Juve Stabia in Serie C, and I got them to Serie. That's different. When you're playing FIFA and so forth, no one is picking Pescara. No one is picking Baguette FC. No one is picking Abuja United.
Unless
No
you
one is
back
picking
the
these dudes.
game.
Hey,
Unless
Change,
you back the game.
let me give my 2 pence on this Super League thing.
win is a
And the
win.
reason why I say it, because obviously the Super League thing that they've brought in today
Mm.
is different to the one that they mashed together.
Yeah,
whatever.
which was a
That
mess.
was
Was a
a
mess.
It was a joke. And I was 100% against it because it clearly impacted on domestic leagues and domestic competition by the fact that there was no relegation for certain teams. Therefore, it becomes an exclusive club. Wherever you finish in your league, give an example this season, Chelsea and Liverpool wouldn't even care about the Premier League because they know, well, next season I'm in the Super League anyway. Where I finish,
Yeah.
And that's the part. That's the one of the biggest parts.
Yeah. They did it Jeopardy. No Jeopardy.
Exactly. This one is definitely better than the one they provided before. But my angle isn't even really because what will be. And of course, yes, the fans have some power, as we saw with the original Super League plans. But when all is said and done, the decision will be made whether the fans like it or not, and we're gonna have to get on board. That's the ultimately, like most things. So my question, my statement or my position isn't really about how good is it, etc., because what will be in that respect. But my question is kind of why is it coming around, how it has come around, and who I think needs it more than others. Now, of course, people will think I'm a Premier League merchant purely because I support Manchester United. You'll be right. I'm a Premier League merchant. No, listen, I respect all the leagues. I've been watching football as long as I can remember. The Premier League started in 1992. Before that, it was just English football first division.
Yeah.
In the 90s, where I grew up, the English football, the Premier League, was not a superpower in the world. It was big because it's England and it's football, etc. But in terms of the major team and the major league, the best players in the world were playing in Serie, then La Liga, and even Netherlands prior to the 90s.
Well, no, that's not really
80s, 70s.
But no, to be honest, 90s Serie.
Yeah, 90s.
If you were the best, you go to Serie. It was Serie. Yeah.
But England is, you're talking at highest 4th on the list of the best.
Oh yeah.
England.
When Serie were feasting, and they had Juve, AC, Inter, and whoever else, Fiorentina, all these teams coming, Lazio. When La Liga were feasting, obviously they had Barca and Real Madrid, and they had all the best players going there. Romario, R9 R9 went from club to club to club, never came to the Premier League once. None of these leagues, none of these clubs, none of these fans were thinking, how can we help the Premier League join us at the top table? No. At the time, when they were big, they were happy to be bigger than everyone else. Remember, English clubs were even banned from Europe leading into the 90s. Everyone was feasting without the English clubs. And the English clubs had to come and say, what can we do to bring ourselves to the table with the rest? They didn't necessarily kick up a fuss about it like that. I don't have all the newspaper articles back then. But between them and Sky, they created a Premier League, and they stated to the world that this is the best league in the world before it was the best league in the world. It's called marketing. It's called business. It's not about fair and not fair. Oh, you have all the money. It's market. They marketed themselves as the best league in the world and advertised and pushed to the point where the money is now that they can become the best league in the world, where they can get the best players, the best managers, and everyone's flocking. And now that the teams that were big in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and the league, Serie, La Liga, etc., when they ran the well so dry, they drank from it consistently for the past 50 years prior to the Premier League. Now they're running with their begging bowl saying, sir, please, can I have some? You had your share, and when you were on top, like Barca, Real Madrid, Juve, AC, or Milan and Inter, what were you doing for the rest of the teams in your league? Barca were having 80% of the TV revenue that they generated because they're Barcelona. Real Madrid, probably even more actually, might even be 80% in the latter 2000s. Real Madrid, the same thing. Whereas in the Premier League, all the money that's generated, everybody gets a share that is equally split. About nowadays, it's about 100 million. Then you have another set that is based on your position, so meritocracy, and then based on how many times you appear on TV. So the money is equally spread to allow the competition and the teams within it to continue to thrive. Whereas when those teams were at the top, they were greedy and they took it all for themselves, and now they're begging for help. I have no sympathy for any of those clubs who are in the big clubs who are in financial ruins, because you had an opportunity to help all those smaller clubs in your league and you didn't do it. And now you want the financially rich Premier League to come and help you.
No. My thing, because I definitely want to hear Paul's point of view from this, because my stance is this, and this is what I said in the video, which is that the Premier League always promoted Premier League, and because it was about, okay, we have, because it's England, it's not about, it's about the Premier League, so everyone eats. What's coming to the Premier League? Everyone eats because we are promoting the brand.
And sorry, and HH, the benefit of that, what you just said they did, they promote the Premier League. It wasn't always a big six. There was Man United and Arsenal. Newcastle came in, Blackburn. Then Man United, Arsenal, Liverpool. Of course, these teams were big already.
Yeah.
And then Newcastle popped in. Then Abramovich
expanding. Yeah.
Spurs and Man City. Now we're talking about 6 and 7 potentially with Newcastle, because they promoted the Premier League and not self-indulgence.
No, because I think the issue with it, because again, my position is that it's true, you're right. It's like the Premier League do not have to be like, oh, let's come and help it, because for Spain and so forth, it was always about Barca, Real Madrid, and whatsoever. So it was never about, it's La Liga. We're trying to promote La Liga. Serie, we already know. What's it called? Don Corleone tax. So my thing is, that was always the issue. There was a Premier League, was the Premier League. But my thing is this: at the end of the day, Knicks, all I want is to watch FIFA. All I want to do is just watch the best teams against the best teams. That's what I say. I respect Brighton and Bournemouth, but Knicks, I'm sorry. If it's between Chelsea and Bournemouth and Barcelona against United, bruv. Shout out to Bournemouth.
So when I started playing Football Manager and Championship Manager, I always pick Man United. And then, you after you play a few seasons Man United, all right, then pick Barcelona. And then, so you pick all the big teams. Then there comes a point where you're like, I'm bored of this. I'm actually too good. It's too easy. All right, let me go pick a smaller team, make it a bit more difficult. Let's see if I can get a bit of a challenge. How long before Man United and Barcelona become Man United and Bournemouth? As in, it's overindulgence. The spectacle of those big games is not going to be where it is now because it's so frequent. That's my question.
No. But Knicks, how long has FIFA been going along? Whenever we go to our friend's house, we've been playing United Barca band thingy from goodness knows when, because you know why? These are brand names that have a history, and you have an attachment to these names. So you can never really get a board of it based on what these brand names are, because it's like, bro, how long have people been wearing Gucci for? Or Louis Vuitton? Man, I'm bored of wearing Gucci, man. Gucci's out of there.
Why don't you win the World Cup every 2 years?
That's different.
Why is it different? Well, you want the best players and the best to compete against each other.
But the World Cup is not the Champions League. The World Cup is something completely different.
No, but there's something special in the fact that it's every 4 years. There's something special in more is less sometimes. I'm not against a Super League, by the way, in this format. I'm just saying what we see, what we envision now as Man United Barcelona, the spectacle becomes Man United Barcelona.
Okay. Let me, Paul. I need to know where you are from, and then I want to come to everyone because about Paul, because you're in an interesting situation right now. So, do you agree in the sense of whether it was Tebas or the guys from La Liga screwed themselves over by not doing the Premier League model, which is that everyone eats rather than only 2 guys eat, and so forth. So where are you at with the Super League, and whether La Liga do have a strong argument in how they've handled the league as opposed to the EPL?
To start off, I want to say so people don't see that I'm not biased, or at least I try not to. I agree with Knicks in the sense that La Liga wasted their opportunity in that sense. Now, having said that, I think it is extremely misleading to suggest that the only reason the Premier League is how it is because the TV deals and the marketing. We all know that is not true. They did that. That was a very good choice, but there is something called ownership of clubs, which didn't happen in La Liga and now starting to happening, but because of the limits from Tebas, we can't, clubs from Spain cannot overspend anything, which Premier League clubs can. So let's not forget that part of that part of the story, because Nick is a great storyteller. I agreed with a lot he said, but he didn't. He for some reason he didn't talk about all the problems that are with shady sponsor deals. Why, for example, why if owners don't really inject that much money, and the money that owners have is not that directly important, why are Manchester United begging for a sheikh instead for an
Qatar.
American?
They're begging for Qatar.
begging is a bit
No,
far.
no.
Sorry.
Or
Oh, no,
clubs.
Paul is
bro.
cooking.
No,
Paul
no.
is cooking.
I
Paul
don't
has
care.
it on the stove. It's on the stove. Paul is on. It's on the
One
stove.
second,
It's
Paul.
interesting.
Paul, are you a Real Madrid fan?
Yes.
Yes, I'm a Real Madrid.
Oh, I was just checking. Sorry, Real Madrid.
No. What is the problem with that?
I was just checking where the money. No, don't worry. Carry on. Continue. Sorry, I don't
Our
wanna
money.
interrupt.
No, don't worry.
I don't
Our
wanna
money is
interrupt.
where.
Sorry,
no,
I'm sorry.
no. Okay. Yeah. Just didn't know if you were suggesting something. Okay. Our money
Paul,
is where.
Paul, please continue. Please continue.
Yeah, no. But look, now coming off of that, it was a little teasing. First of all, I think we need to stop. Putting this fight of Premier League, Super League, as if the Super League is something from La Liga. In fact, the only La Liga teams that are on board with this are Atletico. Atletico are on board. It's just that, well, half and half. Barca and Madrid. The rest are buying the Tebas story of the big bad wolf that is the Super League because they are fucking stupid.
Yeah, but they're the big teams. That's why.
No. I'm gonna tell you because this is very easy saying, no, they want money. Of course, I agree with you. They want money. But the problem is that UEFA is where's the revenue from all the games that are played in the Champions League, in all those tournaments? Where is the revenue? Do you know how much money earns the winner of the Champions League? Look it up. You're going to fucking laugh. Look it up right now. It's fucking embarrassing. The
22
problem is not
million.
how much money is made. The problem is where does that money go? It doesn't.
How it's distributed? Yeah.
It goes to UEFA pockets, and UEFA doesn't invest it in leagues. They don't. And another positive thing from the Super League is that they at least promised, and it's true. We don't know. It's uncertainty. We know UEFA is corrupt. We all know that. We've accepted that. Let's say the Super League, even though I'm a Super League fan, we will say it's uncertainty. We don't know what will happen, right? We will know if things are better or worse. But at least they've said, look, these are problems UEFA have. They said, first of all, they're literally gonna inject 400 millions minimum to the leagues that are not in the European competition. For example, I don't know, Belgium. I don't know how the matrix will be done to say which clubs are in, right, from the first time. I don't know, but they've said literally that 400 million minimum will be injected into leagues that are not in the European competition.
Paul, let me ask you a question because obviously we don't know the integrity and whether they're going to stick by their words. When you consider remember, this is the same people that proposed the first Super League that they're now proposing now.
No, I can explain the first Super League if you want.
No.
And I agree with it.
What I was going to say, you agree with the first one?
Yes, because it wasn't. It was marketed as or not marketed. It was people saw it as closed, or people saw that 15 clubs were going to be on it obligatory at the beginning, and people panicked. The strategy there, Nix, was to have 15 clubs that were the most mediatic, to make the marketing the best one from the beginning, and then make it an open one. Now, I understand that people may not believe that. I understand that some media left that part behind.
That's what I thought as well.
This is what I was going to say. This is what I was going to say.
But anyway, I think this one is better, by the way. I think this one is better.
If you agree with the first one, then I guess my point that I'm going to make is a bit redundant. But
I agree if they
had
opened it.
Okay. So next point. I
made the point anyway. In the fact that considering it's the same people who did that, I would ask what was the motive behind making a select group basically guaranteed a certain amount of income regardless of what happens. So if you don't do good in your domestic, you're guaranteed that. And I asked that if that was their motive then, because they have now written a new structure, then does their motive really change? Because the problem that existed why they proposed the first Super League is still now. So I think their motive is still going to be the same, which then I would say, if it is the same,
no, but
the new Super League ends up being like a La Liga, or where the top few benefit financially and the rest still suffer.
Actually, so Paul, just because I want to come to Mike, Elias, and Ricardo. So just run your points so I can come to the other guys to hear everyone's point. So Paul, go for it.
I think you're missing the point, Nix. The point from it being closed from the beginning, it wasn't to keep it as closed. At least that was what was being said. We don't know what reality would have been, right? Mm-hmm. It was from the beginning to have the strongest marketing possible, because if you have those 15 legendary clubs from the beginning, there you're gonna have the best marketing possible, the best start possible, and then you can make it open. Now, why wouldn't they do that now? Because if they start and they start well, they don't have any reason to make it an obligatory thing. Like, the point of making it close at the beginning, it was for the beginning. If the beginning is not closed, now I don't know what happened in the future, but again, this is a choice, Nix. You have UEFA, which I'm very curious of how many Prem fans who say football for the fans and ESL down support the UEFA thing, which is a cheap copy of the Super League, by the way. And this is a choice about we know UEFA is corrupt and the uncertainty of the ESL. That's a choice.
Mike, talk to me.
It's a good idea. But, when they came out with their statements and said that they're speaking to 50 clubs, they didn't say that 50 clubs gave the thumb up and said, yeah, this is a great idea. They didn't specify that. They just said, we're having discussions. Well, if you're not getting verifications, then clearly clubs are not on board with this idea yet. To me, look, I'm a football guy. I'm not a Prem guy. I'm not a La Liga guy. I'm a football guy. I watch freaking Danish League. I watch Turkish League. I watch Eredivisie. I watch all sorts of football. So for me, when it comes to this sort of Super League, the main concern I have is, what about Benfica? What about Ajax? What about Club Brugge? What do they get a share of the pie? Or is it only going to go into the pockets of Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Juventus? Because right now, if you tell me and say, here, Juventus, here's 200 million. Do you trust them with the money? Give 200 million to Barca. Do you trust them with the money right now? I'm sorry. I don't at the moment. They have shown
So if it was a case where you were given full assurances that within this league, everyone gets to eat from the pie, and it's an ecosystem that benefits everybody within the paradigm,
exactly.
then you'd be
I'd be fully behind
I
it.
agree with
because then that allows Benfica to keep their best players instead of constantly selling their best players. Same with Ajax. Same with Dortmund.
Monaco
same
before,
with Monaco. This is what happens. I don't want it to be that, we only make this so that, you guys get a share of the pie, but most of the pie and the slices go to Real Madrid, Barca,
No, because the idea is, so if I put my Chelsea hats on, Enzo, yeah, baby, boom, boom, boom. If I put my football hats on, it is better for football if Enzo was staying at Benfica. It would be better for football. But the only way that Enzo stays at Benfica is if Benfica have the resources to pay him as much of a wage. But the Portuguese pie isn't as lucrative as the EPL pie. So that's why Enzo left. Because trust me, if they could pay Enzo as much as they why is Enzo leaving?
Exactly.
Enzo left mainly for the more money. Now, it's just
only for the money. Sorry, HH, only for the money. Let's be honest. Chelsea and Benfica have the same amount of Champions League.
It's just like that.
You have the same amount of Champions League. It's only for the money. I'm sorry, HH. Whether you like it or not, it's the facts. So this is my concern. Great. It's a great idea. Basically, what I call this is the Nations League of club football, because there's the promotion, relegation, promotion, relegation. So who's going to be in Division 4? For me, for my second club that I support here in Finland, are we going to be in Division 4? Are we going to see some money? Are we going to be invited? Or is this only going to be, here's the 10th place of La Liga, 10th place of Serie, you guys go into Division 4 and you get your money. All the rest of Europe, you guys don't get to eat. Now, of course, you can say, what about San Marino? Do they deserve to be in it? That's a discussion for another day. Maybe they can create their own sort of league and maybe somehow people will watch it. I don't know who's going to watch it, maybe 100 people. But because I would be concerned about my club here in Finland as well. We benefit from UEFA. Look, UEFA is a corrupt company, as we know. I hate that.
No, I'm sorry, Mike. For the UCL winner to earn less money than the EPL playoff winner is wild.
Look, it's wild. I
Where is
fully
that?
agree.
Because Mike, I'm sorry. This is the Champions League. Andrew, I know how much I have to pay to BT Sports each month to watch the Champions League. And I know that's how much is being paid to CBS Sports. And all this money is all pulled together because it is one of the most watched competitions on the planet. And it is very expensive to watch it on the planet. So there is a lot of money made each season in one of the biggest sports competitions. Forget football, one of the biggest sports competitions in the world. Where is that money going to? Because the people who are the reason why we watch this competition should be benefiting from the finances generated from that. So I'm sorry, the numbers just do not add up.
I'll tell you where the money goes to. It goes into the pockets of Sheffield and that guy who says, welcome to the Champions League draw. I don't know that guy's name. That's where it goes into their pockets. You know, instead of bringing out the balls and saying, here's the matchup, he's saying, here, I'll take the money and put it in my pocket.
No, because growing up with the Champions League, I do have an attachment sort of like the Champions League logo, the theme, and so forth. But if fair is fair, if fair is fair,
but as a Real Madrid fan, the attachment to the UCL, bro, like I don't think there's a bigger one, you know.
No. But the thing that is fair is fair. As much as I'm attached to the UCL and so forth, if clubs are saying that UEFA, either you give us a greater share of the finances, or we're going to create our own ecosystem where we get more of the finances, I can't argue with that. So UEFA, either you pay up, or because look, the court just said sorry, you can't sanction these guys for making a breakaway league. You don't have a strong enough arguments for sanctioning these people for joining a breakaway league. So FIFA and UEFA, what's your arguments, right?
Yeah, and also look, I'm somewhat behind this. It's just about don't make the bigger clubs bigger. Come on, they're gonna generate a lot of money no matter what. They sell all the kits. Do you think Benfica are gonna sell the same amount of kits as Barcelona? Hell no. But so then how can they compete? They got to get some TV money. What I want to know is as well, if this sort of leak does happen, we're probably going to be on a streaming platform. Let it be Apple TV or Amazon.
Yes.
Okay, how are you going to distribute that? Is everybody going to get a fair share? Or is it because it's Barcelona, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea? Do they get more than everybody else? You get a little bit less because we know that you're not going to have the same viewership.
No.
Which is also fair.
Mike, my idea is, this would be my idea. And then I want to come to Ricardo. Initially, everyone, for the initial thing, marketing and so forth, maybe everyone just gets an injection of money through. And just like how you have it in tennis or golf, first gets this, second gets, so
based
the
on
winner
performance.
gets this, the runners-up gets this, third place gets this, fourth, fifth, and then just like in golf or so forth, it depreciates with how further down you go. Yeah. So everyone is getting somewhat of money based on how well you perform. And then if you're a Benfica and wow, we found this amazing young player and so forth, we can keep him because we now have the finances to now pay him. So if we think about this, if this thing is done right, we don't get a situation where Dortmund, Monaco, or Benfica lose their best players because they can't afford to pay them. So that is the upside of this. Ricardo, talk to me.
Hold on. The only issue with that I see is like, for example, what happens if like a Chelsea or Man United, they aren't doing well in the league? They're what's it called, like 7th, 8th, 9th, or something like that. They bring a lot more fans. They bring a lot more revenues. And let's have like Benfica, who are in the league, but they're like 3rd, they're 2nd. Their stadiums aren't being filled out. Let's say they have 30, 40, 50,000 people in the stadium. But you have, for example, a Chelsea, Man United, who are filling the stadium, who tons of more people are watching it. How would you distribute the money then?
Well, Elias, I
because for example, like the big clubs, I agree they should get the bigger portion because they're the ones who people want to go see.
I
And the
refute
one
that
generation- the
alias
one
by
with the-
saying that Chelsea Stadium is smaller than Benfica Stadium. That's all I gotta say.
No, I know. I'm just giving I'm
why do you
giving
have
an
to throw strays
example.
at that?
It's facts. I'm just
I'm
saying
giving
it's
an
facts.
example.
You can check on Wikipedia.
Yeah, we has to
think-
throw strays at that.
I
No,
think
but Elias's point is really interesting though, because Elias,
I agree
still,
with him.
because I still feel, hey, competition is competition, but at the same time, I know it's competition, but business is business. And even if I don't know whether I'm for or against, it's sort of like the idea of capitalism. My company is a big reason why this thing even exists. Not you. I know you've done better than me in this competition, but business-wise, my company and our perception and so forth is a big reason why we're making a lot of the money. So why is this guy getting to eat a lot more than me when, because of my existence, you're able to eat from this pie? So it's a tricky one. Ricardo, talk to me.
All right, so there's three things I want to say regarding this whole Premier League versus any other league, European Super League, whatever. Well, I get what Michael is saying, but I feel like Michael's point of view comes from a utopian world where everything is split evenly. The reality is, even if Benfica had the money to maintain a player like Enzo Fernandez, let's just stay on this example, it's not going to change the fact, even if they have the same money, certain clubs are still going to have certain pull. So even if Benfica had all the money in the world to keep or match the financial power of Real Madrid or the Barcelona, Enzo Fernandez is still probably going to want to make a move. There's going to be certain players that are more willing to be bench players at a historically bigger club than be a starter at a team that's not as big. That's just the reality of how the things are. So it actually doesn't really matter if medium team tier, like maybe like the Dortmunds, the Benficas, the Ajaxes, doesn't actually so much matter about whether or not they have the money. That's just how I have to say, it's just how life works. There's a hierarchy to all these things, and you can see this across all the sports. Look at the Lakers are probably the best example. These guys have been absolutely trash for and I'm a Lakers fan, so like these people for a decade, they somehow still were able to pull LeBron James. So it doesn't matter for certain clubs of what position they are, how much money, they will always have an allure about them. So that's one thing. Now with the European Super League, it's pretty obvious that this is mainly about the money more than anything, but we can't be hypocrites because the UEFA Champions League was created because there was more money to be made. Before the European Cups, you're only allowed to play that tournament if you won your league. But what happened? They realized certain leagues, their top 4 or 5 teams, were infinitely better than another league's champions. So why are we only having the best teams of each league when the best teams of each league don't consistently make up like the top 20 of the top 20 leagues? I'm trying to explain. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, but like maybe out of the top 10 teams in the world, 5 of them belong to one league, but you're putting in champions of lower countries in a competition.
Get it what you're saying. Yeah.
So it was brilliant of the Champions League to expand the slots to even teams that didn't win their league and put them in the competition. And obviously there's a seeding, how many leagues get how many places. That's obviously a money thing, because you can add bigger teams from bigger leagues in a competition. Like teams that like Spain, England, that have like 4 to maximum 5 positions. Should the 5th team really be there if you come 5th in a league? I mean, you can kind of debate it, but if we're talking about meritocracy, probably not. So, I mean, we can't be completely against what the European Super League is about, and then at the same time glorify the Champions League when historically the Champions League has been exactly the same thing. Now, with Neex's point, and I do agree that the Premier League, they did maximize their league's marketability more so than La Liga and Serie A. However, I would argue that the Premier League always had a sense of inevitability about their league, because if you look at the most spoken language in the world, it's English. You look at the second most spoken language in the world is Mandarin Chinese. In China, you learn English as a secondary language. So even if you're born in China, you're learning Mandarin or Cantonese, you're learning English as a default. The third biggest language in the world is Hindi, which is in India, and Indians do learn English as well. So by default, the English Premier League at some point was always going to become the
Not
biggest league.
legal, by
Regardless.
colonialism, you mean?
I mean, yeah, I mean,
No, no, no. It's colonialism
no,
tax.
it's definitely colonialism, and I don't know.
No, because to your point, I'm a guy living in Nigeria, and Premier League was heavily promoted
exactly.
in Nigeria as well. So,
but if you were to go to South America, right? I'm not saying you can't watch Premier League games, but you can actually watch as much Premier League. You can watch as much Spanish league games and Italian league games, probably if not more than the Premier League, even for the past like 30 years. But why? Because it's easier to mark a Spanish league in a Spanish speaking area. The reason why the Italian league was successful in the 90s as well is because a lot of the foreign players were from South America. Literally, the club Inter Milan, one of the most successful clubs in Italy, was created from Milan because they want it's in their name, Internazionale Milano.
yeah.
They can carry a lot of international players, mainly South American players. That's why if you go to South America, a lot of South Americans support Inter Milan. They're kind of like that weird part.
Yeah.
I agree, Ricardo. Well, let me just ask a question quickly. Would you say, and maybe it's hard to even know that right now, did La Liga, and again, those things you can't, they can't control. The colonialism that happened is what it is. Everyone speaks, speaks English, so it's a language of trade. But did La Liga market La Liga to the best of their ability, or did they market Barcelona and Real Madrid? Because as much as English is the biggest spoken language, Ronaldo and Messi in the last, how long, over 10 years, and the 10 years in La Liga were the biggest superstars at least of the last 50 years.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
The whole league, if you really wanted to.
No, I get.
Sorry, just real quick. But my thing though is, I'm at two minds because I want to go back to Ricardo with this. At one point is the point that Ricardo is making. It's Spanish. And even though Spanish is actually very heavily spoken, English far outweighs Spanish. But at the same time, football is for football. There is no language when it comes to football. Great football is great football. So whether even if you don't speak the language,
we're seeing great football in Saudi Arabia right now. 4 goals from.
Okay, Ricardo, can you please talk about
a very important element as well? And it happened to coincide at the time as well. Even Wing just asked, why wasn't the English first division the biggest league in the world? It's down to language goals. It's actually down to the fact social media too is heavily English. For the most part, social media is dominated by English, the English language. So you have to factor in all these. The implosion of social media just changed everything in every facet: sports, life, whatever the case may be, business. So at the end of the day, the Premier League was always going to be number one in terms of marketing. Quality, it's up to debate. There's like changes in which league is actually more quality than other. But in terms of entertainment, in terms of marketability, the Premier League was always going to be at some point the best one. And like we said, it's all about colonialism. If you go to South America, who do you think most people support? It's going to be either Barcelona or Real Madrid.
Because of Spain.
Well, of course, because of the language as well. If you
but also Spain colonized most of South America. So.
Yeah. Obviously, Italy as well is one of the big ones because you obviously have Argentina that's been colonized, or already colonized Argentina to an extent. Also, the South American players that have gone to Italy and have been successful in Brazil, Argentina, and the other countries around there. If you actually look at, for example, I have friends who are Eastern Europeans or like Albanian, Polish, whatever. Funny enough, that they don't even watch football like that. But if you were to ask them what team do they support, it's Bayern Munich. Germany has been actually very successful in marketing in the eastern side of Europe. So that's why most people from that region tend to support Bayern Munich. I think what Spain has done well, at least with the two main teams, they've marketed themselves very well and been competitive with the Premier League in like the Middle East and Asia. But that's really just main down to the prestige of the two clubs rather than the marketing of the league. Now, if you look at Canada and the United States, the Premier League is by far, way and large, the most fun. But I mean, what languages do we speak? We speak English. And the second biggest league, I will say, is Spain, just because, I mean, the United States, what's the second official language? It's Spanish, and they have a massive Hispanic population. So there goes that. But I think, yeah, I mean, I get where Meeks is coming from his point, but I think suggesting that the Premier League kind of just did better at what they did, which they did to a sense, but it's also dismissing the inevitability that was always going to happen with the Premier League because of colonialism, to sum it up in short. But yeah, I think overall, like, it's just more about what I'm noticing is the hypocrisy.
So are you for or against the ESL?
No, I'm completely I'm for it, because like I said, if we're going to criticize where the money is being distributed, blah, 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 well, it's the same thing as the Champions League. Like, the Champions League was created because of money, so it's not really much of a difference.
Right.
We're just scared of change.
Elias, talk to me, and then I'll take your dubs, guys. Elias.
I think the basic point of the Super League is it's for entertainment and it's for money. We watch the Champions League to see the big boys clash. That's why we want to see it. When the first version of the Super League came out, I personally didn't like it because it didn't have that meritocracy to it. It was a select group of people, which is like, if your team doesn't perform, you're still in it. When it's an open format, and you have relegation and promotion, I'm completely fine with that. Because, for example, Napoli, Arsenal, they're having fantastic seasons. If they were in the European Super League, I would like to see my Barcelona go up against Napoli. I would like to see them go up against Arsenal. It's just like that. And the Super League isn't meant to like replace the domestic leagues. It's meant to replace the Champions League.
Yeah.
And for example, do you want to see? I think it's Eintracht Frankfurt versus Spurs.
No. Frankfurt against Napoli, Milan against Frankfurt.
Exactly. Okay. For example, like do you want to see those games? No. There's more eyes on the Manchester United versus Barcelona game than those games. It's just that simple. Just bigger teams. It's my point is that simple. I'm in favor of the Super League just because I want to see Barcelona go up against Real Madrid constantly, go up against Manchester United, go up against Chelsea, go up against Bayern. I want to see this constantly. And I think it's only 14 games or something.
14 games. I think they said at least 14 games.
Elias, aren't you gonna, when you see it every single year over and over again, like, look, Manchester United and Barcelona, when was the last time they played against each other? 2013?
It was 2019.
2019? Don't you want to wait and anticipation maybe like every 2 years, 3 years? Barcelona versus Manchester United. But every year it's repetitive.
But in La Liga, how many Clásicos we've had? We've not.
There's like 3 coming up, isn't there?
Yeah. We're going to have 5 in one season.
But El Clasico is the biggest game in the world. Like, everybody wants to see it.
United, I don't care. United, Liverpool, City. Like, at the end of the day.
But Mike, do you know what it is? For me, it's not about, it's United, Barcelona. It's about a fair fight. I don't think United against Bournemouth is a fair fight. I don't think Juventus against Pescara is a fair fight. I don't think Bayern Munich against Braunschweig is a fair fight. I don't think PSG against Baguette FC, although Baguette FC can't say what's up, is a fair fight. Now, there is that rare occurrence where Baguette FC can say what's up, where Braunschweig can say what's up, where Pescara can say what's up. But 9 times out of 10, the bigger team wins. But if we have those teams that are on parity and so forth, it's 50-50, 45-something and so forth. So it's almost like this. Tyson against some bum off the street. Most likely Tyson will win. Tyson against Holyfield. Tyson against what's it called? Lennox Lewis. It's much closer, so therefore it is much more exciting.
But it's not a fair fight until it is, and I say that to say maybe at the start of the Premier League, Tottenham weren't that competitive. Now by 2015. They were getting to 2018, obviously got the Champions League final, but they were getting to the top 4. But because of the way that things, and I'm not saying the Premier League is the be-all and end-all and it's the glory, but I'm just saying it as an example that if you give teams time, or as balanced as it can be, you allow them to make it into a fair fight. If you accept that it's always going to be unbalanced and therefore you don't do anything to make it balanced, then it's always going to be unbalanced. That's what we see in a lot of different leagues. We see the unbalance just existing forever because that's how it was. I don't know if the Super League balances that out. As Mike was saying earlier, I think it's just going to benefit, the top 15 teams in Europe. Really.
Once again, if there's promotion and relegation and merit and you doing things well is rewarded, And wouldn't, for example, Napoli, who is doing fantastic this season, and if they were in the in the Super League, they would be getting a big share of the pie. You would assume, because every single team would be getting a fair share. Then, with a vastly larger amount of money, wouldn't Napoli be able to invest even more to do even better next season? Well, wouldn't you assume this? Like, wouldn't like the increased revenue allow, for example, smaller teams, if they're doing well, to become even better?
Well, Elias, let's take this into account, right? Most, like, Barca and Real Madrid, they're going to be the sort of spearheads of this whole project. What if they miss out? What if they don't perform well in the league one year and they don't make it to the Super League?
We're relegated. It's like that.
So you don't think there's going to be any problems that they're going to try and do something fishy with coefficients and say, oh, look at our performances in the past 5 years. That's why we should be in the Super League the next season?
Mike, the problem with that is that we don't know.
Exactly. No, that's my problem. When you two have the power, that's like, you can't have all the power. There needs to be a fair say with everybody.
Wait. We don't have the power.
Well, I'm pretty sure that Real Madrid and Barcelona are going to be the spearheads of this whole project, aren't they?
Mike.
In fact, the president of the Super League is not Florentino Perez anymore.
It's that German guy, isn't it?
But
will Florentino Perez have a heavy say on this project?
Probably.
Mike.
But Mike, one thing before us, I don't want to. By the way, we can make an argument perfectly that with the Super League, domestic leagues will be even better in terms of competition, because if again, Napoli is having a great season, which they haven't had in a long time. Now imagine the ESL exists. They enter in the ESL now, or they improve in the ESL because of this, because of how they ended up in the league, right? Okay, then I don't know. Then the revenue they get from whatever the share is, the revenue they get from the ESL, they can invest it, and that is going to affect their Super League run and their domestic league run. So what you're allowing is you're indirectly injecting money into the teams, which also improve the domestic sides.
That's actually okay. Let me quickly go through some dubs because the guy's been sent to something. So Quab, you and Ligona are real ones. ESL all the way. Let's go, bro. Look, man. As long as they just fix a few of the things, I've always been with the ESL. I've always been with it. Talents FC, Laporta and Paris. If you need money, just come and beg. We will consider if we have a place for you guys in League 1 or 2. It pays more than your farmer. Basically, the guy, he's a troll. He's a troll. Jad, have you read the article on... Okay, is it trying to bait me? Okay, I'm not going to say that because I think it's just trying to bait me. I'm not going to say that. Talents FC, Perez, we accept the demands if Mount... Oh, Jesus. Okay, let's not, man. Musical thought. Reminder: Premier League is Premier League is essentially the daddy of the Super League. Why the hell did they create the Premier League in '92 then? Karma. Last English manager to win was in 1991. Yeah, shout out to Howard Wilkinson.
Can we tackle this for once? The Premier League will never be the Super League because it's only for English teams. The moment the Premier League says to Real Madrid, "Hey, you can join if you want. Hey, Bayern, you can join if you want," then we'll talk. That isn't gonna happen.
No,
it's not the European Super League. And by the way,
I think he's saying it's a precursor, like as in the Premier League can't complain. I think he's.
And by the way,
the reason why we call the Premier League a Super League is because of how much financial revenue that the Premier League absorbs. Because
the Super League
compared to La Liga, compared to Serie,
the Super League will be the double.
Crazy amount.
You have teams like Nottingham Forest, like outspending like Atletico Madrid.
Also, what's it called? What I've always said is that whatever the EPL is, I believe that the SL will be better just based on the teams that exist in the ECL.
Can I ask a question quickly? And obviously, Paul just said the revenue will be doubled or the money will be doubled. HH, if us 9 were the only people in the world, so forget the chat, they don't exist. Big up all your super chats. If you had £100 million and the rest of us had £10 million, you're a very rich man, right? Because we're the only 9 people. You got 10 times everyone else. If I could promise you tomorrow, you can have £200 million. You think that's a good deal, right?
What's the catch?
No, I'm talking on the face.
Okay, $200 is a lot, but I'm waiting for the catch.
So you doubled your revenue, 200 million.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
But all of us also got another additional 100 million, just like you did. So now you have 200 million, and we have 150. Are you in a better position or a worse position? You're in a worse position because the strength of your money in relation to your competition is lower despite you having more money. And this is why Premier League clubs, I don't even, other than the fact that, of course, the Premier League and football exists within a greater world, so your 200 million is actually worth a lot more than just within the football world. But if you're in as a football owner to be the best, to make your club the best, it doesn't even make sense to increase everyone else's revenue with yours to a point where your pound can't buy Enzo Fernandez anymore because they also have a pound that is as strong as yours. So it doesn't even make sense. To join the Super League.
But that's where I think I was saying to Mike, it's about competition now. So whoever wins, you get a large amount of the money. Second, you get a bit less. Third, you get a bit less. So over seasons, like let's say after 5 seasons, Real Madrid win it 3 times. And maybe they come first 3 times, they come second twice. They're going to have a lot more money than everyone else. So because they already have a lot more money than everyone else based on their performance, then they're able to afford to pretty much pay a lot more. So my thing though is we will only begin to see the differentiation of guys after we've seen several seasons of guys. Oh, I've come first 6 times. I have this much money because of how well I've done, and I've received my winnings based on my performance. So easier. Hold on, let me get to easier. Talk about CR7 4. Oh God. All right.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Wait. Who did he score against? Who was this against?
4.
Aluwada.
HH, you want to know something crazy?
What?
Me and the goalkeeper have something in common.
Stop
we're part-time construction workers.
Oh.
Yo, HH, by the way, PSG, I watched the game yesterday. They are bad.
No, Mike, they've been playing like this.
Oh, I know.
Like,
They've been playing like this.
If Bayern was we're having a meal, we're having a meal with Todd
even with Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, they get smoked by Bayern.
Bro,
Bayern are not.
Bayern's not that good. Bayern's not that good in the league.
No.
Have you seen PSG?
No. PSG have been dreadful. Like,
this is like
Bro, I can't wait for Tuesday. I dare them to go through. I can't wait for Tuesday.
We've not seen Delta for a while, man. The guy needs to
Yes, my football purist self says this is a horrible idea. But if you're going to completely insult all the smaller clubs who actually have traditionally built their teams, you know what? Make your own league. Okay, are you insulting these smaller teams?
But they can still join. That's the thing. They can still join.
It's an open mind. Like, if you do well, come on down. But my thing though is, I said shout out to Braunschweig and Brighton. I respect Braunschweig and Pescara. But the thing though is, am I going to now deny the facts of seeing Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Napoli, and so forth in one league and playing each other?
No, but HH, I'm gonna let you finish the super chats because I have something to say about this. So
you know what's the funniest thing, HH?
Yes, I'll come to you.
You know what's the funniest thing, HH? Me and your club and a certain Stallion club in Turin wouldn't even qualify to this competition if it was next season.
Mike, last I checked, they have 38 games to a season.
That's hilarious.
What I know is that we would still not qualify.
And Mike, Todd Bowley's name carries weight in this town.
So you're gonna make some payments to the Super League. Is that what you're gonna do?
Lips are sealed. My lips are sealed. Every league format makes teams irrelevant. Bayern will still walk the league while Chelsea gets relegated. What? If everyone is a big team, no one is a big team. Wait, who says Chelsea will get relegated? According to whom? Do you know who we have? We've got Zoe and the Owl. Guys, guess who's come back on Saturday? Ow! Can't wait, man. Ramesh, another alternative is to remove restrictions which prevents clubs like Dortmund, Ajax, AC Milan, etc. to get taken over by rich sugar daddies. No, look, the ESL idea is it's an ecosystem where everyone eats, which is what makes it so good. Serie and La Liga, racist and empty grants equals no TV deal, hashtag cry. Look, the guys.
Yo, actually, HH, can I just make one quick point? It was funny that the Super League, they were talking about following EU law. Did you see that? They're going to talk about...
Explain, what do you mean?
Like, just like, I guess, carbon footprint and all this sort of stuff. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about then a racist situation that would happen in the Super League. What's the punishment? Because it better be stronger than what UEFA do. Because I'll quickly tell a story. Here in Finland, I went to a game for my club. We started chanting UEFA Mafia. We got a 20,000 euro fine for it. I don't see any racist incidents getting fines like that because we chanted UEFA Mafia. So Super League better be strong on these cases then.
No, they have to be. And again, that just shows you how stupid UEFA are. So you're going to charge 20,000 for UEFA, but no racism.
UEFA is quicker to act on things like that than like.
Yes, I know. Yeah. That's also makes stupid.
England's not in the EU, so that's
from whimsical thoughts, football has been ruined. This is only a power struggle. Sheffield versus Perez Infant. Look, here's my thing. This was what's made me clear. UEFA are not the good guys. UEFA are not the good guys here. So don't think like, oh my gosh, remember what Sheffield said? Oh, we're fighting for the fans and so forth. No, sorry. No, you're not the good guys here. Relax. The simple solution is to keep the CL the way it is. And UEFA has restructured the money that goes to teams where this would happen.
The CL is changing anyway, Matt. The CL format is changing anyway.
And they're changing as a response to the ESL. But here's the thing though. If it's very simple. This isn't about, we just don't like the Champions League, we just want to compete. If you properly redistributed the money and so forth, and you didn't pocket all this stuff, why are these guys making an ESL? 100%. Guys, I don't think these guys are hiding. They're making the ESL because of money. COVID screwed a lot of these teams over based on how badly they ran their league. So my thing is that if you properly, because the Champions League should be a competition that should keep you financially sweet, even during COVID. It should, because I know how many people watch that damn Champions League. Someone is pocketing a lot of that freaking money. So, Dajo, you can't blame La Liga for mainly pushing Barca and Real. You have to realize that there is a lot of politics and history behind it, unlike other leagues. Okay, but that is why you're the way you are now.
For instance,
Mamadou Tiam, Benfica is bigger than what?
This is actually true. Historically,
this is actually true.
What?
Historically,
I'm sorry. Does
What?
Benfica have
Excuse
more?
me?
It is.
How many UCLs have Benfica won?
They have three.
No. How many Champions Leagues have they won?
Here we go again with this.
Speak up. Speak up. Speak up.
Nah. But if you do that, you have to take
Do I
away.
hear zero?
No. The difference is
Do I hear zero?
The difference is Benfica's won their trophies organically while yours were bought. So
That is true. Yeah.
I asked a simple question. 0 UCLs, 2, some may say 4 for Chelsea. That's what I'm saying.
Some may say zero. Some may say zero.
That's what I'm saying. Some would say 4. Some would say that's 2 were actually stolen.
Wait, HH.
Someone say 0 based on Russian blood money tax.
Arrodis, no one can see you, man. You're okay, so
HH,
please.
are you going to disrespect Eusebio?
Saying 0, like hashtag blood tax, you know what I mean? So,
Wait, Mike, what you say?
You're going to disrespect Eusebio. Really?
He's bigger than
Eusebio, one of the greatest players of all time.
Shout outs to Eusebio. Eusebio and Hazard. Eusebio and Hazard. Ramesh. What's good? Another solution might be to make the presence of UEFA an elected process with either clubs or fans having the rights to vote.
No,
No.
Come on, that'll never happen.
Fans are the dumbest
Never
people
happen.
in the world.
Ricardo. Are you calling yourself dumb? Are you calling
Yes.
yourself dumb? Okay.
Bro, come on. We're
Okay,
all
that's I
biased.
agree. So Aaron's ESPN has posted about Leeds more than Real Madrid and Barcelona in the last month. You guys have yet to provide a legitimate count towards. What are you on about? Wait, hold on. So, is the point that Leeds is much more bigger and much more attractive globally than Real Madrid and Barcelona? Is that your point?
I literally argued this point is because ESPN is an English network.
Yeah.
No, but
not from England, but like they run on.
This is not about domestic league.
no,
Wait, no, yes, I'll come to. Let me just hit the dots and I'll come to yes here. CR7 goes, Cristiano is finished in 2023. The GOAT. Jesus. You see, this is where things are bad right now, man. No, but here's my thing though. Could Messi do this in the Saudi Pro League?
That's the important
Messi,
Could
question.
he do it in the Messi Pro League?
You have to ask
Messi's taking
that.
it now. Messi's running from another 8-2.
Wait, hold on. But it's fair. Madrid signed Beckham over Dino because of marketing. Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
That's funny.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
Yasir,
was
talk to me.
ugly,
What do you want to say? Yasir, talk to me.
because I see a lot of reaction. I've listened to a lot of people talk and everything. It's funny. EPL
Do
fans.
you know what? Do you know what? So, no. Yes, let me tell you what is funny.
This guy swears he's Socrates.
No. But do you know not? Every single time that yes starts, it's not like when I was young, I lived a long life. But I was like, yes, we are football fans.
Okay.
None of us are teachers because yes, you talk as if like, man, this guy's going to say something like truly generational. Yes.
No. I just it's interesting because you have different opinions, and the one opinion that I feel like is very disingenuous is Premier League fans.
I hope Newcastle beats the crap out of you.
Like,
sorry. Continue.
Like Premier League fans, they shouldn't have an opinion about the Super League because basically what people have been saying, the Premier League is head over heels over any league right now, that they don't need a Super League. Other countries, they need the Super League. The Super League will help for example, the Eredivisie, the Serie A, La Liga, etc. The Super League will help them. The Premier League don't care about anyone and anything other than the Premier League. So Premier League fans don't want the Super League. Why would they? They have no need for it. And the conclusion I came to was there's going to be different scenarios, but the two likely scenarios in my head is there is going to be a Super League, but there's also going to be a Champions League. And some countries like England, like Brexit, are going to opt out of the Super League and will opt for the Champions League. And I think the Bundesliga will do as well. So you will have
Wait. Are you for the Super League? Yes, yeah.
For me, I don't care about the Super League. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen, great. Because I am selfish as a fan. I support Manchester United. Manchester United is located in England. We don't need the Super League. We're not in dire need for the Super League. So I really don't care. If the Super League happens, great, we'll participate in it. If it doesn't happen, whatever. But then I also had to be objective as a fan, as a football fan, and say, look at the situation of Serie A, look at the situation of La Liga, and say, you know what, the Super League will help them, will benefit those countries and those leagues. So what I end up seeing happening is you will have a Super League with Real Madrid and Barcelona and a lot of the Serie A clubs. And then you have the Champions in the other end, where you most likely have like Bundesliga clubs because they're proper clubs.
Huh?
This wasn't gonna happen, and you're gonna have Premier League clubs.
How does so?
It makes sense because
trying to say the Bundesliga clubs aren't going to join this.
They're not going to join.
Are you sure?
No,
Are you sure?
They won't.
They
won't. The reason why
you think the fans care about money? They
don't
care about controlling
Pride
their club.
can only
That's
take
why
you so far.
there's a reason why there's a 50+1 rule.
They don't. They're not going to join.
Over 50+2.
So you're going to have a situation where Chelsea are going to travel to. They will never travel to the San Siro again. Because the Milan clubs they're not gonna play in the Champions League anymore. We're not gonna travel to the Camp Nou.
Yes, here. Why doesn't UEFA just do everything right? Because trust me, I don't want that. What I want is I want everyone playing everybody in what is the Champions League. But yes, my thing though is pay me what I deserve.
No,
Hold on. But you realize if the Super League does go through without the Premier League teams, the Champions League
finished.
Competition is done because now
done.
you have what they're gonna do is UEFA is just gonna expel the teams that are participating in the Super League, and then you're just gonna have a Champions League that's just full of English teams, and nobody's really gonna give it the credit because then it's just a glorified FA Cup.
But Ricardo, you know what's gonna happen?
Ricardo,
do you know why?
Ricardo.
No, it's true though. That's what's gonna happen. And you know who's gonna benefit more than anything?
It's a glorified FA Cup.
No, you know who's gonna benefit? The Premier League. Because the Premier League will be the biggest league as well.
I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, so will there something like the champions or something?
Well, listen. If that means in the 20 years that Real Madrid are away, Man United can get up to.
Nobody's gonna count those. Those have no weight. Those have no weight.
When Real Madrid come back, when the Super League fails and Real Madrid come back, we will be the kings of Europe.
Nobody's gonna
But Nick, think about it.
That thing is going to be cast, bro. Nobody's going to recognize that
that's
nonsense.
Gonna have the biggest. That's gonna have the biggest tax of all time.
No, but
I don't care.
Think about
I don't care.
But think about it, guys. The Premier League wants the Premier League to be the best competition in the world. There's a sense that you can say the Champions League might be the biggest European competition out there. But if the Champions League is not the same anymore, what ends up happening is the Premier League becomes the league. irrespective of competition, everything, everyone's going to be focused on what the Premier League.
Yes, here,
And that's
I-
beneficial for the Premier League.
See,
You know?
what Yese is saying is because this is where things get very interesting.
Yeah.
Because what's it called? I think Nix was even saying it. First it was the 2, then it was 3, then it was 4, then it was 5, then it was 6. Nix, tell your boy Terry. I think the show should be called the Top 7. I think it should be called the Top 7. I don't know why he's going to be top
And it's
6.
going to continue being like that.
And it's going to continue because what is happening in the Premier League is we're going to have a situation where more and more, Sugar Daddy, come on
Yeah,
down.
but
Sugar
AJ,
Daddy,
do you
come on down.
want- AJ, do you want
So
the
then
best part?
everyone's going to have money. So Premier League, wait, why do we need an ESL when it's now a top 10?
AJ, do you want to hear the best part? if this goes through, Don Smoke, Patrick, Man City fans, and Arsenal fans, they're never gonna get to see their club win the Champions League.
Nah, that would be messed up, bro. That would be messed up. But remember what Ricardo, right? What you put in the WhatsApp group? A 15-year-old in like 10 years' time. Look at that bum ass UCL and Super.
Oh yeah,
How many
Messi,
siblings do you have?
Ronaldo. Messi, Ronaldo.
How many ESLs do you have? What you want that dinosaur UCL? Get out of
What
here.
you're doing with the European Cup? You're doing the
Yeah,
same
that's
thing.
exactly. That's
No,
not the same thing.
Alex, that's the thing. I don't recognize the European Cup, bro. Shout out to Nottingham Forest. I
No, but
I don't.
This is
Why?
what a lot.
Win me a UCL. I don't care about Nottingham Forest.
No,
European
but
Cup. No, European Cup. No. Give me your UCL. Get out of here.
That's what they do. That's what they do to Real Madrid's dynasty.
You know,
Mike, don't shake it.
because the thing is, like, also I think about like the other leagues as well. I look at the Scottish League, I look at the Eredivisie, because at the end of the day, this is an opportunity for them to actually get a lot of revenue. So, and this is the thing, like, I forget about traditions and heritage and all that stuff. That's nonsense. It's about money. Like, we all saw what happened to Derby County, how they got taxed so many points and ended up getting relegated.
My thing though is that. See, it's weird though. I wish we had a City fan here, but no, it's weird. And I think Nix and RDS, you'd probably understand this.
Okay.
For a City fan, what do City fans really care about mostly?
The Premier
We
League.
have won
Premier
over
League.
Man United.
Yeah.
City fans don't care about the Champions League. You see, City fans in Manchester don't care about the Champions League. City fans internationally, we need to use City fans in Manchester. Don't give. City fans, they are in cloud 9 now. We are getting one over Man United. Oh, Champions League, that's just a bonus. We are better than United now, and we now rule England over United. That's all they care about.
I find English fans, if they could choose to win their league over the Champions League, they would pick it more times than not.
Yeah.
Ricardo, but here's the thing though, it's a geography thing. The fan located within the area, they care more about tradition and of course the league. The international fan, the league is cool. We need that UCL as well.
Prize.
So I just remember they interviewed a Chelsea fan and they said that this Chelsea fan watched Chelsea win their first ever Champions League in the Allianz Arena. He said his proudest moment was when he stopped the Super League. I was like, hold up.
But
You were in the stadium when you saw Drogba literally become Moses and part of the Red Sea. And your proudest moments was you defeated this. But Ricardo, I used to want him. Do you see what happens to fight with the streets?
That's patriotism. That's patriotism.
It comes back to history and tradition in the sense that before there was the European Cup, you had the English League. And that was the first, whether it was called the First Division, the Premier League, it was, are you the best team in your country? Yeah. So as we can see, the European Cup became the Champions League. There was other competitions such as the Cup Winners' Cup, Intertoto Cup. UEFA Cup became the Europa League.
Oh, wait, hold on. Shout out to Covenant's Cup, man. Your boy. Your boy said, what's up, man? Chelsea, Covenant's Cup. Shout out to your boy. I think we beat Stuttgart.
We won it twice.
Speaking by the Knicks.
Now we've got the UCL potentially becoming the ESL. So as time goes on, all these other competitions change. But what remains is, are you the best team in your country? That remains forever. So that's why the UCL might not mean as much, because tomorrow the UCL don't exist and it's something else.
But Nix,
no. But Nix, though, at the end of the day, you want to test yourself
Of course.
against the very best. Is the very best really within your country, or is the very best that's those dudes in Spain, those dudes in Italy, those dudes in Holland, or so forth? That's why, like,
you just said you don't recognize the European Cup or European Cups. So Neeks has a point. If you don't recognize the European Cups, but you recognize,
look, here's the thing: I recognize it if it fits my arguments. So.
Of course.
Of course, like everyone knows.
like, hold on. Like, of course, I recognize. No. Look, here's the thing.
Wow,
See.
wow.
Did you know what's so weird? At least I'm honest with how I am. Of course, I recognize the European Cup, but if you're not going to chastise Chelsea by saying that you only have as much as Sunderland and thingy, then I won't really recognize it. So it depends. Are we going to insult Chelsea? Then I don't recognize it. Are we going to be respectful of Chelsea? Hey, come on down. I recognize. So it depends. What are you doing? Are you insulting Chelsea? Then no, I don't recognize it. So, Ardes, where were you at with the whole ESL?
Go ahead, Ardes. Go ahead.
Wow. Thanks for explaining that, HH. So just in my
at least I'm honest.
Yeah. You know, so like Chelsea. Yeah. I think first things first. Like, part of the reason why I would say I'm pro Super League is because I just, as a person, I hate monopolies. I don't like monopolies in general, full stop, because I feel like monopolies kill innovation, and companies just like because they have a monopoly, they feel no need to change, think for the better, listen to fans, etc. Because I know they're always going to get the money and cash from people regardless. Like the biggest example right now is Disney, which is one of the reasons why I never wanted all of Marvel under Disney, because
ruined everything.
RDS, there's bigger reasons to hate Disney.
No, there is.
Have you seen Song of the South? Keep going. Zippity doo da. Keep going.
There's definitely big reasons, but I'm just giving it as an example because I just do not like them. So for me, UEFA and FIFA have a monopoly over football, and obviously UEFA regarding European football and stuff. So, you know, I don't see this idea that people are creating my mind. So where UEFA can be the only organization that can organize European football, have access to European football competitions, to me, and there can be no one to challenge them, because there are a lot of things that I disagree.
To your point, that is why they lost the stuff in court, because the courts ruled that you can't
exactly.
sanction these guys for breakaway league. You don't have a strong argument.
That was my second. I was coming on one of my second points. So I'm going to talk about the fact that this risk of they'll kick them on the Champions League. They can't do that. That was part of the ruling. They can't if they decide to join or whatever. They can't just kick them out because they can form a competition, no problem. But ultimately, like, you know, there's a lot of things that over the years that I've disagreed with UEFA and FIFA about. You know, whether it's the formation of new tournaments. We didn't have a say about now the introduction of the Conference League, you know, the increase of unnecessary games. Like, just to take United's example, I have seen no reason why there should be a playoff before entering the Europa League. Home and away. That's just 2 additional games. Have no problem playing Barcelona, but I see you've just now added 2 more games onto a necessary busy season. Did any of the fans have a say in that? Did the clubs have a say in that? No, it was just, this is what it is. Suck it. The same thing with the
you don't see revenue,
you know. But yeah, we'll get more revenue for UEFA. So at the end of the day, like, if the Super League is going to guarantee more revenue for the prospective clubs involved, but more importantly, is going to provide legitimate competition to UEFA, because potentially UEFA might be like, right, okay, when we have this, we're going to have to reform, and we're going to have to do this.
Which is what they are doing with their new format.
Well, I think they're just, I don't know whether that was in relation to Super League or just for themselves, but essentially I'm saying they may have to listen to the fans more, or at the very least, they not just think, oh, we have a monopoly, we can do whatever the hell we want, land our pockets, etc., and just do what we think is good. We have to actually think about what is good for football and make changes accordingly. Because we now have a threat in the Super League, so we now have to make a better product to make sure that our eyes are focused on the Champions League versus it might. I'm just throwing ideas out there. It might be, for example, that they might do it in a way where they do involve more of these smaller teams, give them a stage, and suddenly the Champions League becomes like the underdog tournament. But actually, because it's an underdog tournament, it draws more eyes because people like the underdog. You know, I'm just thinking of innovative ideas to compete. So the point is that, like, at the end of the day, like, if people want reform in football, because football is such like it's basically epitome of like global capitalism right now. Like it's all financially driven, etc., etc. The only way that you're going to be able to get any reform or change is by introducing competition. That's it. It's not going to be Twitter posts. It's not going to be like people legit think that they stopped the Super League because they protested outside. I'm not about to say like we stopped the Super League because we protested outside. And we
No. That's Chelsea fan said that his proudest day was how he helped stop the Super League. That's like my guy.
Come on, no, you didn't. Like even with these takeovers, people are go protest for Qatar, Saudi people come. But like, you think that's going to change anything? I'm sorry, just to be real, it's not going to. You know, fans don't have a power in football anymore. So if you do want to get that change, the only way you're going to get change, because money talks now, is you got to introduce competition. Because when you introduce that competition, suddenly the people involved in charge, i.e. UEFA and FIFA right now, have got to go. Hang on a minute. What can we do to make ourselves better? So, yeah, I'm pro Super League, whether it'll go through or not, because like the Asses said, I doubt the Bundesliga teams will be involved. German teams are very, very much like, we have our own football, we have our own league, fan ownership 50-50. We're not going to disrupt that at all. French league, I don't know.
No, yeah.
So maybe
but what's it called? Nasser El Khelafi, he's the head of the UEFA, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he's not good.
I think there'll be a lot of
I just want to say, RDS, that is the most English hat I've ever seen in my life. You look like someone out of
that is the Cockney.
That's a Peaky
Blinders. Peaky Blinder. It's been that, mate. Nice one, mate. Cheers.
Yeah.
No, all right.
Guys, how do you think I get the girls, bro? Like, you know,
I just wanted to add something.
Yeah, so what do you say?
I just want to add something. The whole thing of what HA said about, or the biggest moment of the whole Chelsea fanship is
not on me.
No.
It's a Chelsea fan. Yeah.
No, but then you hear all of this because Premier League fans, the English in general, the English country, the media and everything, they don't like this. They fear the Super League.
They don't want this at all.
They don't want this because they don't want something to compete with the Premier League.
Because the Premier League is a sense of ownership and nationalism, and because it's not really about your club, it's about this is what England created and so forth. So it's something purity and so forth. And bro, yes, Brexit. Why did people vote for freaking Brexit?
Isn't that the case with all of them? When we speak about what I said at the beginning, when Serie and La Liga, those big teams were thriving, none of them were talking about let's create a Super League. No, they were happy.
No. But the thing though was, now we don't know. Maybe I assume the right. But was there ever a scenario where like the Premier League were like, oh man, can you please do Super League? We are suffering. 90s, Premier League was not suffering. They were just trying to build themselves up. And remember, there wasn't a pandemic like a COVID that screwed over so many clubs in the 90s and so forth. So the Premier League, like, okay, we're just building up something. But it's a situation where, due to a once-in-a-lifetime pandemic that screwed over so many businesses, guys are like, we need to find money somewhere, you know? So who knows? Maybe if the roles were reversed,
but that's the issue, HH. Everyone's got is looking at this from their own selfish point of view. And that's the issue I have with this. Like Nick said, it's like, Premier League is
yes, you're right. See, for me, I see both sides, because I see the side of the Premier League of like, because see, for me, my view is selfish. My view is I want to see the best against the best. Mm-hmm. It's a selfish point of view, but I understand of the Premier League of like, well, everything is fine. My only argument, see, it's a difficult one. The really hardcore United, Liverpool thinking Chelsea fan, they like playing Norwich, Bournemouth, because it's tradition. And tradition is a big thing for them. So the guy who I've been a Chelsea supporter since I was young, my uncle got me through anything, facing Doncaster in the FA Cup third round, they like that because it's tradition. That whole Europe thing, like, oh man, that's just Europe and everything. That's not the proper tradition stuff. But I'm a football merchant. So as a football merchant, I'm like, bro, I like guys against each other from different countries. So it depends on the kind of fan you are. So for that hardcore thing, fan, of course I don't want to break ESL or so forth. Hell no.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The one thing I really like, the reason why I don't mind the Super League and I actually would like the Super League is because I'm tired of the Champions League. I feel like the Champions League, this notion of the same team wins every year, that there's no disparity in the Champions League. And that's one thing I don't like when people talk about like,
wait. what's it called? RDS and Nix. Remember when BT Sports wanted to charge you? Was it like £20
Sky,
to watch
wasn't it?
like?
I think it was
No,
Sky.
it was BT Sports.
No, it was Sky.
I remember it was
For the Premier
They
League
tried-
in the pandemic.
Yeah, for the Sheffield
It was
United
fine, it was
Burnley game.
fine.
Yeah, I remember that.
Sheffield United Burnley, and they wanted to charge like £20, and fans were like, "Excuse me,
Yeah.
excuse me."
Well,
So
we're not going to go into the whole finance things because Manchester City are under investigation for actually being corrupt, and the EPL has not done anything about it as of yet.
Wait,
I'm
wait,
just
wait,
saying
yes,
they
yes,
will,
yes,
but
yes.
as of
Wait,
yet.
wait, wait,
so-
wait,
Proven, it has to be proven.
Let me answer because it's a point that Paul
Yeah.
raised before, or maybe even to Paul, Ricardo, and to Elias. Do you think it would be better for La Liga if they had less financial restrictions that the EPL have? So do you think La Liga would be the better place if there was a lot more freedom financially within La Liga than within the EPL
Can I
has?
talk first, guys?
Yeah,
Paul,
go
go
ahead. Oh.
Okay. The thing is, first of all, it's very funny to hear this notion of Premier League is the how things should be done, and in some sense, in some instances I agree, but there are other things that I don't like at all. And if you watch football nowadays, football, HH, and you know this, 10, 20 years ago wasn't about the transfer market.
Mhm.
No.
No.
Now
No.
it's important. Why? Because it gets social media, because it gets views, because it's about that. Premier League is not going, it's not evolving into football. At least I don't think so. It is evolving into basically marketing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we talk about this like it's great. No, nowadays marketing is a product. We need to understand this.
Yeah.
Nowadays, marketing itself is a product. There are things. There are entire empires, economical empires, based only on marketing with no product actually. And football is going. And I think football is going that way. Especially in
100%.
Premier League.
100%. No,
It's going-
greed is going to destroy football
game,
eventually. Yeah.
Game is gonna each day care. People are gonna care less about the games itself, about the game of football, and it's gonna be more focused on transfer market, on what did this club do to buy this guy, on the drama between players. On that is what is gonna happen. So is that better for the Premier League? Yes. Is that better for the English fans? You tell me. I don't know, because that's the other thing. And again, I may be wrong, right? I don't know. Could be. But why are we saying this is good for the Premier League? Okay, is what is good for the Premier League always good for the English fan? I'm just asking. Is it good? Is it what's good for La Liga good for the Spanish fan? Because the Spanish fan wants to see football. The English fan wants to see football. La Liga cares about money. Premier League cares about money. Qatari owners care about money. I don't know. American owners care about money. Florentino Perez cares about money. Laporta cares about money, and all the power structures care about money. Not
No, because it's interesting what Paul is saying. Because as Paul is saying, like, so if the Qatar guys buy United, and whether Qatar or Saudi guys now buy Liverpool and so forth, what about Southampton? What about Palace?
No,
How do
that's done.
Palace compete? How does Southampton compete?
Wait,
How
HH,
does Bournemouth compete?
a
Okay.
richer owner. That's the reason. That's the only.
What happens is we get an Arabian Night remix. That's what happens.
Ardius, you know what's the you guys know what's the
Ardius, you're a
funniest thing
sad
actually?
man. You're a
You get
sad,
an
sad
Arabian Night
you're a
remix.
sad, pathetic individual. Man.
Yeah, United Arabian.
Sorry, Mike, what you say?
Michael.
Do you know how much Brentford's owner is worth?
Oh,
Billions,
how much?
right?
Really?
30 million.
Wow.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Really?
30 million. And look where Brentford are in the Premier League standings.
Don't worry.
30 mil?
30 mil.
Don't
Wait,
worry.
wait, Mike, so you're saying a 30 million?
Let's see how many years can Brentford keep that up.
But that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. But they have a good model, Paul, because they don't have an academy. They only have two teams.
No,
they have
I know, but
What's it?
no, Mike, here's the thing though. What's happening in the Premier League? It's a rarity. It's a rarity.
oh,
because
no,
trust me,
100%.
it's going to be normal order of business. When Liverpool gets the injection of money in, once United get the injection of money in, I'm sorry, Brighton and Brentford, you're
Fulham.
not doing this again. You're not
Wait,
doing
what?
this again.
Wait, but hold up. You have the injection of money from Todd Bowley, but Brighton's still ahead of you in the table.
And also, HH, yeah,
You know,
money doesn't
I
guarantee
said
you
that.
success.
You
No,
know
I'm
what's
just-
so funny? Saturday,
I'm just.
Ardy is Saturday 12:30. He's back. He's back.
HH,
12:13
Mike
Saturday.
did-
He's back. He's back.
Mike did an excellent point. This is an excellent point Mike
Yeah.
made. but it's even deeper. A team doesn't care about success as long as they get money. If
Yeah.
a team can sell you every year hype and more hype and more hype, and you get to buy merchandise and everything, and they finish 15th, and they get money injections from any owner, I don't care where they come from. We say Qatari owners because they're the richest ones, right? Saudi Arabia, all money in this thing. Any owner that has, that's the concept. That's the point. It's not about success anymore. Teams aren't gonna care about whether you. It's gonna be a secondary thing. What owners? Because the owners don't care about the team.
But Paul, that's been the case. I mean, if we want to keep it a stat, because I've made this point several times in this channel, is that the winner of Serie A, they've got a Scudetto, but they will earn financially far less than the relegation fund in the Premier League.
Yeah.
So, but if you speak to the owner of let's say it was Inter or Napoli or whatever, and be honest with them and say, what would you rather have? One Scudetto in say 3 years, or the bottom league revenue of like a Burnley or something? They're gonna say, really? We want that bottom relegation Premier League revenue. That's what we want.
I'm sorry. I don't understand a world in which a team earns more money finishing 16th than a team who wins a league with 20 teams.
I mean,
that doesn't make any sense to me.
Let's
that makes
take this
no
into
sense.
account, HH. Bournemouth, right? Shout out to Bournemouth. I used to live there. Markham Road, Cranmer Road. Shout out to you guys. Their stadium is 10,000 people. 10,000. And they were able to outbid AC Milan. I'm sorry. That did not happen in the early 2000s when Serie A were dominating world football. I didn't see Pescara, Palermo, or these teams, or Catania outbidding Premier League sides. This didn't happen in the mid 2000s, like 2009, 2010. I didn't see Racing Santander, Tenerife outbidding Premier League sides. I didn't see it. Now we're seeing Premier League are outbidding everybody. And it's down to their success. They have done well with marketing.
Look at Nottingham Forest, man. Just like shopping around Europe, basically.
Bro, RDS, that owner is ridiculous. He owns Olympiacos. You know how many managers they've had this season? 4. They've had 4 different managers. That owner is ridiculous. I don't even count him as an owner. Shout out to Kaler.
How is that possible? How can he own Olympiacos and Nottingham Forest?
Because they're
not in the same league.
The same way the Qataris are going to own PSG and Manchester United.
Exactly.
That's insane. Like, that's crazy.
Wait, hold on. Let me hear this. So, Lamoni, Leaks speaks facts. ASL only.
He's weak.
ASL only. Oh no, this is enhanced glasses, man. ASL only benefits teams not in the Premier League. No. Look, financially, yeah. But as again. Would you rather win a European League or FA Cup version 2.0?
I don't know.
I want another FA Cup. Give me that Wembley did that day at Wembley.
No. Hold on. Nix. If you had a choice between winning the ESL or FA Cup version 2.
If anyone can get me,
Nix, it was a simple question.
To the Carabao Cup final.
Nix, but Nix, in fairness, what happens what about the nature of the win though? Let's say it's an ESL final between, say, United and Chelsea, and we literally baptize these guys. Like we actually
like you did against 10 men. Like you did against 10 men. Hold up. Have you beaten Chelsea when it's not been raining before? When it's been clear skies?
Just out of curiosity, treble. Sorry.
Have you beaten Chelsea in a final with clear skies?
Hey, blame John Terry for slipping, not us, bro.
Mike, we've been through this. The mid-table subs need to be a thing. I'm sorry, please.
John Terry pulled up his armband. John Terry pulled up his armband like he was about to capture fantastic.
And that clown wants to return back to that club.
You know what's more funny? When they won the 2012 Champions League, he put on his full kit to serve.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay, carry to work, Casey. Barca, Bayern, Real outend every Premier League club during non-COVID years. Huh? What? So only money comes close.
It's like the revenue generated. Like the revenue generated.
Okay. Yeah, London Cowboys, LSG spent 700 mil. Actually, no, he didn't out-end Chelsea. You freaking liar. No, he didn't. He didn't out-end Chelsea. Spent 700 million after 2 years of losses and just 550 million revenue. Issue is not money, but lack of. Wait, Casey. How do you know what Chelsea's accounts are? Who told you that we had 2 years of losses? According to who?
apparently the richest
No,
club.
he's talking about PSG, not
Oh,
Chelsea.
thank you. Okay, no, Chelsea's revenue is popping
Guys,
off.
apparently the club with the most highest revenue is Manchester City in the whole world. Apparently,
Apparently,
they own the most money. Apparently,
Yeah,
Wait, no, hold on. No, so they have the
Apparently.
most money, or they've generated the most
they
revenue?
they generated the most revenue. Apparently,
That's a lie.
but that's the point. That's why they're under investigation. HA. That's what they reported.
This is
what they reported.
This is a genuine question, guys. Do
Yeah.
you guys ever see Man City kids? I'm not even trying to like ridicule the club or anything, but do you generally see any Man City kids on the streets where you guys live?
in Manchester. In
Well, of course, in Manchester, yeah, that's a dumb. Yeah.
No. But you say that. But what back in the days in Manchester, you didn't really see it.
Oh, no, it was only red.
No,
what it
but
is,
basically,
you definitely
I'll
do-
agree with you. I'll come to you, Ricardo. I've literally never seen anyone wear a Man City kit. Never. I've seen a lot of PSG kits. Never seen anyone wear a Man City kit.
But that's because of fashion.
Well, you'll see PSG kids because of Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. That's superstar power. But in terms of Man City, you actually do see them in Toronto. The thing with Man City is that they are a relevant club,
Outside of
successful right now.
yeah.
And for anybody who's entering football right now, they're gonna be probably very likely to support Man City because they're one of the top teams. You're not gonna see somebody who's like 40 wearing a Man City top. But no, you do see Man City. At least here in Toronto, you definitely do see it. I mean,
Wait, what's the name on the back?
no, they get the clean ones.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You do see Aguero. Aguero's probably the one you must. My brother-in-law's like a Man City fan. He recently got into football, maybe like less than.
Wait, why does he support City? Why?
No, but that's the truth. Like a lot of the new City
You
fans,
like the badge.
like the new fans of football, they support City.
Wait, Oz. Have you anyone with any City fans? Wait. Where are you based? California, LA? Where are you that you're based?
I'm Virginia or like near
Virginia.
DC.
Yeah.
Oh,
Virginia, I can tell.
so do you see the clips while walking around the streets of Pharrell Williams?
I don't
Wait,
see it.
I didn't crack a joke. Do you see Pharrell or the clips?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Does anyone wear any City fans in Virginia? Do anyone wear any City jerseys in Virginia?
I'll be honest with you, maybe like 1%. I've seen like a few, but like that's like because I'm like around like football fans and all that, and now like because our generation, in my generation you see City win more, completely dominate the league and all that, and that's why I feel like I've seen more City like jerseys and all that, but I don't think. Just randomly walking the streets, you see more United, you see more AC Milan, you see more
Chelsea
and all that,
and so forth.
but rarely City.
You know what's interesting though?
see
Liverpool. When you see someone wearing a Liverpool jersey, it's always somebody who's older. Always somebody who's older. I mean, like, and outside of England, it's like I find Liverpool like a very cult-like club. Like,
It's a cult. It's a cult.
Oh, no,
It is. It is.
No. Basically, for younger people, the jerseys that most younger people wear are obviously Barca, Real Madrid, Chelsea. Those are the three main ones. Those are the three main ones.
What's the third one you said? Wait. What's the third one you said?
What do you say?
I don't know why I cracked the joke and so forth. Okay, ha. There is a report that says that the club that is won by most young people are Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Chelsea.
Oh, sorry, this report was from Russia, was it?
No. RDS. I know
There
where
is
this
a report.
came
I'm so say. You know what's so funny?
No.
There's
Do you know
literally a
what-
report that has been made so that the young people, 16 to 25, the jersey they buy the most is Real, Barca, and Chelsea. I don't know what's so funny. It's literally a
RDS.
fact.
Into the Putin propaganda, please.
RDS, you know where he got that report from? He got it from InfoWars. That's where he got it from.
you also see a lot of Bayern Munich kids in Canada.
No,
obviously.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
No mother Chelsea.
I'm not gonna lie to you. The kid I've seen the most, by far, without a shadow of doubt, is by one man, Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo has to be the most kids I've seen. I've seen a Juve.
Wait, hold
Ronaldo
up.
kid.
Have you seen anyone with an Al Nassr Cristiano kit?
Bro, I don't. No, not yet. But I'm looking for it.
So listen,
You know what? I
If
might
I
need to
see
buy that
somebody wear an Al Nassr Cristiano kit, I'm going to attack him physically.
Hey, the kid's cool, man. The kid's
I might actually have to buy that kit.
Yeah, it's
No. But I think. Wait, hold up. I think I've shown you guys this. Wait, hold on.
No, here we go.
nice kit, man. It's a nice kit.
It is a nice kit.
If he has a Cristiano kid,
Oh, he's never gonna own one.
Oh,
Put it
no,
up
no.
on the little
He'll
wall.
never
Oh,
own one.
I'm still waiting for Messi's kid on
I'm
the
not gonna
left.
lie to you.
Yeah, exactly.
The United Cristiano kits are nice, bro. There, if we can,
No.
if HH could get that.
You're talking about the old ones,
I'm gonna buy
Yeah.
HH.
Yeah, I like the
Buy
one.
HH.
I like the
Purple Real
08
Madrid
09
kid
season one.
with when he had the noodle hair.
Ah, the Parma.
No, he has no.
I don't know what they
No,
drink
no.
in Italy or so forth. This has to be one of the craziest kits. Do you know they have the
Correct.
names?
Yeah.
That is insane, bro. Like
What-
this
what kit
Parma
is that?
kits, man.
Oh, Palmer.
Parma.
HH, I'm gonna buy you an Al Nasser kit with Ronaldo.
God
You put it
forbid. And
behind
I will burn it. I will burn it live. I will burn it live.
That's what Marcus Thuram
David
did,
T.
for sure, right?
I heard the Super League will be better because UEFA is corrupt. Juve chairman and founder of
See, this is the thing. You want me to trust money with Juventus?
No, this is a good one. This is
I want to talk about the clubs that are broke. Okay, Juventus. Okay, except Barcelona, by the way, was broke because of Bartomeu, not because of Laporta.
Who's a Madridista,
Real
by the way.
Madrid, by the way, I see this argument a lot. Broke clubs want the European Super League. European Super League. How is Real Madrid broke when Real Madrid has done everything financially perfect, pristine, and still has problems financially when competing against the Premier League? We've talked about reasons for that.
You're broke in
So it's
association,
not
bro.
just broke clubs. It's not about broke clubs. This is something bigger. But anyway.
shout out to Strasbourg Steve, new member, man. Welcome to the membership club, baby. Steve, I'm up for the Super League only if the smaller clubs, Asia, Alkmaar, Valencia,
ain't nobody
Zvezda,
give a shit
etc.,
about those clubs,
gets paid the same amount. Ricardo, shut up.
No,
If they get paid a fair share,
Steve,
a fair share, but not the
No,
same
this is
amount.
the thing. This is the thing, HH.
But-
They're
but-
not
but
going
my
to get
thing
the
is
same
like-
amount as Barcelona and Real Madrid. That I will accept. But they need
hold
to
on.
get a significant amount that
Thank
they can.
you.
That
My
they
thing,
can.
and
That's
that's my
right.
thing, though.
Wait,
If if you come into the league, everybody gets a sizable share of the pie that UEFA is not giving you. And if you do well, if you have that amazing FC Porto season or so forth, you get even much more money. But even if you don't, just by getting into the Super League ecosystem, you eat and you eat handsomely and you eat
You know what's
well.
funny
to
as
be
well?
fair,
Shavana
Valen-
Zvezda have more UCLs than Man City and Arsenal and Tottenham combined.
I was like, they do. So how are we saying that? You said they're a small club, so they're bigger than PSG.
91 Champions League winners.
Like Mike said, bro.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, who's set to?
Wait, hold on. Did you say
You know?
only 24? Also, 24 is coming.
Oh, good.
Wait, hold on. 24. What was that in relation to?
Premier League
four
titles for
titles.
Manchester United.
Yeah, league titles.
Talking about the three that
Move
City
in
stole.
silence, David.
Okay. I'm gonna say
Wait,
something
no,
about that.
but David, real quick. When was the last time that Boychester won the Premier League? Was it last decade?
But HH
Last time I checked, all they won
2024.
one. All it has one. I'm just saying.
No.
No, but I'm
That's
saying,
true, that's true,
when
that's
was the
true.
last? No, when was the last time that you won either the Premier League? Because I know that
Oli,
We won it.
Oli
no.
won one.
These guys in blue won the Premier League a few years ago.
No,
Oli and Jose.
one.
Oli and Jose.
No,
Oli and
hold on,
Jose.
Oz. What
Oli
happened?
and
No,
Jose.
Oz. I'm speaking to Oz. Oz, what
Oli and
happened in
Jose
2021? What happened in 2021? Like in the UCL final? Did we say what's up
Guys,
against
you know,
Pep?
you know, guys.
Oh
I'm
my
this-
No.
Like,
Oz,
disclaimer.
when did you? No, Oz. Don't tell me that you didn't win this last decade. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. They have not won a Premier League or UCL last decade.
Have a Premier League.
No, hold up, guys. Let me
That
say
doesn't have
something.
a Premier League.
Walker, this is how petty I am. I don't want the trophies. I don't want Ole to get one. I don't want Jose to get one. Man City can keep the trophies. As long as Steven Gerrard never wins a Premier League title, I am happy. I don't want the trophies. I don't want it. They can keep the trophies.
Wait, hold on, Casey. Most Premier League clubs are loss making. EPL money is a myth.
That's lying.
There's an element of truth to that.
Bro, we got money like crazy though.
No,
I ain't gonna lie to you.
there is a lot of money in the Premier League, is right, but at the end of like
Loss
a lot
making. No,
of
that's
people
true. Those are
are
two different things. There may be a lot of money, but
they're operating
the-
at a loss. So
yeah.
because of the
Random user. Bro, when you make that, bro, I told you guys, do you know who's coming back on Saturday? 12:30. Ow! So that's
He
who's coming
better
back.
not get another red
I
card.
hope
thought it was
he doesn't get
Jay
injured or a red card. I hope
Mike.
He gets a red card.
Then it
Mike.
turns into a 4-month.
But here's the thing. If Mike, if he either gets a red card or he breaks his leg, this channel is finished. I'm shutting down the channel.
Because HH, he got registered to the Champions League squad, so he better not.
You see Mike jumping down the field to try to tackle Joao and breaking his leg.
Sure. Miguel Rabinez, man. Yo, if the ECL goes through, then so be it. But at the very least, the goats of football will forever be the only club in London that won
so
the Champions.
cringe.
Okay, no, hold on. Can I ask everyone? Hold on. Can I ask everyone a question? Can Arsenal be a bigger club than Chelsea if they've never won the Champions League? Speak up.
Can I just answer that question? So if the Champions League goes away, does that mean that United will be the only English club to win a true treble?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No.
Okay.
I didn't get an answer. Okay, Ricardo, you're smart. You're a teacher, aren't you? Like you're really like you want to teach the kids. You're like really smart and cool. You do like really. You're really smart. See, I'm from Peru. Really smart. So hold up. Peru. Can Arsenal be a bigger club than Chelsea if they've never won the Champions League?
On what metric?
It's a simple bloody question. Answer the damn question. Can Arsenal be a bigger club than Chelsea if they've never won the Champions League? Yes or no?
Who's bigger, Arsenal or Style Bucharest?
Honestly, Arsenal are okay, but
Style Bucharest have won.
for an extension, who's a bigger club, Flamengo or Corinthians?
I don't know.
Corinthians?
No, it's Flamengo.
No, it's Flamengo.
Flamengo is the most domestically supported club in the world.
Yeah.
You cannot compete
In the world.
Yes,
Yeah,
in terms of your city, domestically where you live, no team is supported like Flamengo. You could call Barcelona, you could call Real Madrid. Flamengo's
More than River Plate? More than River Plate, Ricardo?
Flamengo
I think it's more than River Plate.
Yes.
Romario in the Flamengo days.
Yes, Arsenal can be, but the two, if it was just one Champions League, then I could be like, no, but Chelsea do have two though. Yeah, they do have. I have to admit, they do have two.
Are you making it 3 this year?
Are you
doing 3 this year?
Mike.
No, he told me
Step by
with Enzo and everything, he's getting 3. It's gonna be 3 right here.
How many Arsenal have?
Barras Omelette, hold up. Coming
that's
soon.
about 146.
HH's mid-table ranting stream in this. Okay.
We just lost to Bruce Dortmund.
Casey.
AJ just gonna come on here and say we lost to Norwegian password. Are you kidding me?
No, these players that they just bought on like are 8-9 year contracts. So if the Super League does go on, the same players are still gonna be on the team.
Yeah, hey, look, man. Look. We invested. Casey, best now in Europe, best in the 80s were in South America. Oh, that is true. Casey, it's true. But Casey, just worry about Casey. If you allow Rashford to do this 3 times at Camp Nou, that's what I'm saying. Don't let him do this. Don't let him do this 3 times at Camp Nou. That's what I'm saying, bro. AJ, I want the ESL. Crap bum teams like Wolves. Okay. All right, we're not gonna.
Well, imagine if Todd B.
Finish this super chat we changed. Justice, man. Come on.
I don't read insulting dubs, man.
CFC.
But it's fair. Didn't Perez become president because of marketing? He had no business becoming president. He started this. Signed Figo, Zidane, Arne, Beckham, all for marketing. Paul, do you want to respond to this?
Yeah, I don't have anything against marketing. The problem is when the only product you can sell is marketing, then there's that. If your point is trying to say that Real Madrid have no product other than signing Galacticos, then you have to you have to watch history because you're talking about the kings of Europe. You're talking about the 3-peat of UCLs, talking about all of that. So Real Madrid and Florentino Perez, by the way, didn't only sell Beckham, Zidane, and Galacticos. He sold us 5 Champions League or 6. I don't know. He various league titles, club World Cups, and yeah, probably the best. The best president in football history. So.
Shout out to 14 Perez, the king of football. He's the king, bro. Everyone bows down to 14
except
Perez.
Mbappe for some reason. He doesn't.
I mean, this is a brat. He's a brat.
No. I mean, look.
We don't know about that.
Look, all I'm saying is this, man. Is that champions? Like, I like the I have the offer with the Champions League because we've won it twice and so forth. It is what it is, and obviously we have like the greatest ever final victory in history in 2012.
Actually,
you don't.
As a Chelsea.
Actually, bring up Arsenal CL winners comment because that's actually a good point. That's a good point. Can you bring that up?
That's crazy.
Oh, RDS, they're the Here We Go champions.
Transfer market world champions.
They're the Here We Go champions.
Because the market.
Who was the last European team to lose the Club World Cup?
I think it was Chelsea.
Yeah, it was Chelsea. Yeah.
Shit representation.
But marketing.
No. But Mike, look, here's it. UCL, ESL, LFL, 2PL. It doesn't really matter, and so forth, man. All I'm saying is, so guys. So before I just want to round up because we're gonna close at the top of the hour. So Paul, do you believe that? What do you think is going to happen? That's anyone can jump in. What do you think is actually going to happen? Because I believe that.
I think Chelsea are getting relegated.
How do you get relegated when you're 9th or 10th and so forth?
Bro, I can't wait when Top B gives Mason Mount a 9.5-year contract. Oh,
Oh my God, please.
With 450K a week.
No. Look, all I'm saying, guys, is this 12:30. Ow! It's back. He's back.
Right.
All I'm saying, he's back. Ow! It's back. Paul, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we'll get an ESL, a Super League? Will Barca be stripped of their 09 UCL that they cheated to get? Will United have to be stripped of their 08 UCL that they cheated to get and so forth? What do you think is going to happen?
I think Super League will happen with this format. I think it's a matter of time before Premier League clubs end up seeing that Super League makes even more money than their own league. So they'll join. And I think it's a matter of time before Bundesliga loses that of they have. It will be a long time, but like time changes everything, and the change is the only real thing in life. So Bundesliga will end up changing, and if there's money to be made, it will happen. So it's the only way this kind of sports work. It happened with basketball. I think this time will be the right one, especially with the City thing, especially with the UEFA at peak corruption point. Yeah.
Mike, what do you think? What do you think will happen? Oh, no, so guys, I am actually going to open this up to guys who want to bring into the area. I will drop the link for general guys to come through. I don't want the panel to have their say, and then I'll bring other guys in. Mike, what do you think is going to happen?
I mean, it's inevitable. It's going to eventually happen, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years down the line. Super League is going to happen. I just hope it's the right format. If it's not, I'm just going to watch other leagues, to be honest. I don't want to just, like, obviously I'll tune in and watch the Super League, but I'm not going to cover it because, you know, that's not football to me. Everybody has their own definition of football, but to me, that's not football. Like, I want to see the small clubs kind of compete with the big dogs. We love those underdog stories. I don't want to just see the big teams go up against each other all the time. If you want to do that, go watch the NFL or NBA because that's how you can do it. But I think it's inevitable it will happen. Hopefully it's the right format. This seems like it's a good format, and let's just see if they can go through with it.
Speaking of the NFL, who wins on Sunday?
Who cares?
I'm going. Hey, by the way, we got to talk about the NBA. KD? Jeez.
That's great.
No. That's a whole. That's okay. That's a
It is a
whole
dick right
other
now.
discussion.
Bro, KD just going to. He's just jumping from championship winning team to another one.
If you can't win on your if Chris Paul still can't get a ring with KD and Devin Booker, man,
No,
Even the Kyrie news is crazy.
yeah, man, with the
The
amount of
Kyrie
hoeing
news is crazy.
you might as well just start an OnlyFans, man. That guy's
okay,
wild.
all right. Look, hashtag me too, Ricardo. Watch your tongue. Oz, what happens, man?
It's gonna look. In general, the Super League will happen. It's gonna happen.
Why did you cheat on? Oh wait, no, sorry. You were saying so the Super League will happen. You were
Oh
saying.
my god!
I didn't say anything. No, sorry. Like I've got this cough and so forth. sorry.
It's why your Champions have
Oz
blood
has
in
the
them?
mic. Oz has the
No,
microphone.
but
He's speaking.
There's literally blood in the Champions
Oz
League.
has the microphone.
It's weird. I'm wrong.
Look,
very, very wrong.
Look, Chelsea is still 10th place, so that doesn't. So what
Okay,
he's
so
saying
what will
is
happen? Okay, cool.
10th place. Anyway, the Super League will happen.
Does it
That
count
is
if you
a
win with
fact.
10 minutes? So
Okay, this guy keeps talking.
I
The Super
know,
League will the Super League will happen. That is a fact. I think we're going to an age where more marketing, more money is going to be involved in football, and it's just going to happen. Do I think this idea of Perez and his Super League will happen? I don't. I think it needs time. I think he needs more. I think it's too raw right now. What his proposal is, I think it's way too raw. I think the system isn't right yet, and like Mike was saying, not everybody signed off on this yet. So we have to wait until see what other people think, and hopefully we'll see a type of Super League where, because if you're looking for a Super League that's not corrupt, that's not happening. You're in for a rude awakening. Everything in life is corrupt. There's no such thing as a perfect system,
including United and so forth.
Democracy was supposed to be the
including
perfect
how
system.
Chelsea spent $700 million in the transfer window. But we don't
No,
talk
listen,
about
no. Okay, no, hold on. Okay, no. Okay, let's clear this up. I'm going to say this right now.
Sure.
Chelsea are spending 700 million over a long period of time.
I don't
They've only
care.
spent
You cheated.
they've only
I
spent
don't care.
100 million in January. Get it right.
What about the billions you spent on the Bram? What about that? We're going to talk about that or what?
Oh, what are you selling 2012 and 2021. How much did you spend in the last 10? Okay, so what are you? Wait, as the kids say, what are UCL for United in the last decade? Warra, and that is with 2 R's. Ricardo, what seems to happen? You seem to know a few things. I'm teaching the kids.
No,
man,
the
so cool.
Super League is happening. It's happening. I think there's nothing.
Thinks you're so
better.
smart because in education.
I think it's just beautiful that this is happening because you can close the chapter on the Champions League with Messi, Ronaldo. Those guys can be irrelevant. Nobody has to talk about those 2 guys anymore, and we can move on to the new generation, new concepts.
You see, which is why Ronaldo needed to win the World Cup, because the World Cup will always remain. But Champions League has to sell by date.
I was gonna get to that. So they'll eventually forget both of them, but one thing that will stay the same is that World Cup winner. So bring on the Super League, man. I'm all for it.
Nick, so what are you saying? What eventually happens? Do you think King Charles will stop this crazy European power? No, because from it, Charlie doesn't want to stop. How are you, Europe? We're England, British Empire. Sorry, go for it. Megan was right. Megan, fight the good fights. Sorry, go for it. Give back the stuff to Nigeria, you thieves. What you say? Go for it.
I think the actual Nigeria election, man. So just easy.
I think the ESL is I think it's a little while away. I don't think it's anything happening imminently. I don't think the Premier League clubs are gonna do something to stop it per se, because other than I'm not involved. And my question would be, how far can it go without the Premier League clubs? How successful can it be? How much money can it actually generate without the Premier League clubs? So they might stop it inadvertently by just not getting involved. They might have other clubs like PSG, Bayern Munich, etc. But what I would prefer to see is UEFA distribute the wealth that the Champions League makes more fairly, more evenly, based on the merit of both how much the clubs bring in and how much the clubs achieve. I think them pocketing that kind of money, and basically it's leaving the game, because what are they doing? Who's getting the money and what are they doing with it? They're not buying players. They're not paying wages. They're not investing in training facilities, youth setups. They're not doing that. That money, and I'm not even saying the clubs are necessarily doing that, but that money does need to go to the clubs. What I worry about the Super League is who is running it, in the sense of, if any kind of organization is self-audited, that's when you're going to get more corruption. That's where you're like, UEFA's corrupt, don't get it twisted. But because UEFA, if UEFA's corrupt, everybody within the competition is affected the same. So it's still a level playing field.
Yeah.
The one corrupt. But if ESL clubs are themselves corrupt, they are self-governing themselves, and therefore those who are running it are benefiting in the competition that they're inviting everyone else. So then you have an unbalanced competition. And outside of all the politics, all the finances, we as fans want to see competition and fair competition. And that's my worry with the ESL.
Elias, talk to me, man. What does the future hold for this whole stuff?
I think, as everyone is saying, I don't think anyone, it's inevitable. The money that is being talked about, the amount of revenue that's being floated around, I think it's just a matter of time. Just because eventually, we're already heading to that direction. Eventually, people are going to see what's happening in the Premier League, and they're like, how are we going to compete against the Premier League? We have to create our own Super League. And I just think it's a matter of time.
RDS.
So what's the question? Is how? Oh,
what do you think is going to happen? What do you think will eventually happen?
Is this supposed to be an open hangout or like? What
no. Basically, after I've heard from you, I'm gonna just open the link out so the guys, all the guys can come in.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah.
Hey Chase, he wants to run your channel.
Yeah, I know.
There are a few people in the chat that are calling you Brick for it. That's why. So I was just
there, bro.
Okay, who's going? I'll take it. Peace.
Peace out, guys.
So yeah, how do I think it's gonna work? At the end of the day, like as I think a lot of people said, I think it will inevitably happen, but I think more just because of the impending financial crisis that's coming to football. Because at the end of the day, like if things stay the way they are, I'm not saying the Super League will necessarily work or fix it, but if things stay the way they are.
So guys, I've dropped the link if anybody wants to talk on the Super League. If you want to talk, the link has been dropped on my Twitter if you want to talk on it. Sorry,
HH threatened. I mean, RDS threatened HH. You saw that, guys. You see how he just said, "Look, HH, drop the link," and he's like, "Sorry."
Oh no, I'm watching RDS. I'm seeing him make a few moves and everything. You know.
Also, Martin tells me to tell you that you're pushing 50. That's what Martin tells me. Shout out
Oh
Martin.
wow. Okay. No, sorry. Even though I'm going to be 25 in October this year, it is what it is. I'm sorry. I know I'm young. I'm young. I'm always young.
I saw Martin. You've got to give Martin at least a dub because his club is suffering right now. So
no, I won't actually.
You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah. So fundamentally, like football is heading towards a financial crisis anyway. That's a fact, and that's going to actually. So a lot of small clubs think, "Oh, what's going to small clubs? They're going to be screwed over anyway at some points because we are going in that direction." So there has to be some sort of revamp, change, connection with that. Might be the Super League. It might not. But like I said, I think that if you're going to get any reform, because obviously Neeks talks about corruption, it's like I feel like if you're going to get any form of reform, you have to introduce competition. If you don't, things just continue the way they are, and if things continue the way they are, they're just going to go to oblivion right now. Do I think ultimately that I think probably not, because fundamentally you need the Premier League clubs to be involved.
Yeah.
And if rumors are true that like the government wants to have a greater hand, because that's where the whole white paper thing is, they wanted to kind of have a greater control over the Premier League, and they want to push for it, and they are intending to push for it. I just can't see how the UK government would allow something like this to happen without under their oversight. So a part of me thinks if Super League is going to go ahead, it's going to go ahead with Spain, Portugal, maybe Italy, for example.
Wait, can you bring up a comment change?
It will happen. So ultimately it will happen, but I think it will happen first with, like, ironically, the Champions League started with, when we started with a few nations. I think the same thing will happen with the ESL. We'll start with a few nations, maybe Italy, La Liga, and the Portuguese league. And then if they can sell the product to Graham, I think more clubs and teams will join that. That's how I think it will happen.
Guys,
hold on.
I'm out.
Oh, peace out, man. Peace out.
Yeah, I gotta head out, guys. Have a good one.
Thank you. Peace
Smash
out.
the like button, guys. Subscribe to this brick channel.
Hey!
Neeks' channel. Subscribe to Neeks' channel, man. So support Neeks. Support Neeks.
What's it called? Yes, yeah. What would you say? What happens in the future, man? Do you think Yasser knows that we can't hear him?
Yeah, I know. Listen, I think either two things are going to happen. Either the Super League will happen and it will just be in direct competition with the Champions League, and people will just kind of have to decide which competition that they want to play in. Or I think the UEFA is going to fold, Sheffield is going to fold and finally give in to the demands that these clubs want, and the Champions League will
which would be the smart thing to
and
do.
then the Champions League will be the Super League, but then it will just be called the Champions League. So
let me just take a few dubs. Actually, no. Are you about to go?
I was literally about to go. Yeah, what's up?
No, let me before you go.
Okay.
That's peaking reflections. Okay, now you can go, man. All right, man. Peace out, bro. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace out.
It's so funny, man. It's so funny.
What's it called? Let me just hit a few of these and then I'll come to you other guys, man. All right, where are we? So half up exclusive. Fulham and Brentford invited before CFC. Hashtag KSL. Well, no, that's a lie because Chelsea. So that would never happen, man. Quab. Barca have the biggest fan base. Only Man U is debatable. Do Barca have a bigger fan base than Real Madrid? Globally?
They have a more engaging fan base. Like last season, La Liga posted their top 20 most viewed games. 15 out of the 20 were Barca games.
So you mean from last season?
Last season, and in the top 5, Barca were in all top 5.
Oh wow, okay. But it's fair. Ricardo. Oh, sorry, Paul was it?
Were those seen or attended to?
No, viewership, like seen.
Right. Barca have a much younger audience. Real Madrid have a broader spectrum, more older. Also.
Oh yeah. But it's fair. Ricardo wants to see Bayern 8-2 Barca every. No, come on, it's not going to happen every year again. No, come on, that was it. Was a lifetime. When Real Madrid brought Hazard, did they do that perfect? Huh?
Yes, they did because he costed that money. We no one knew. Everyone when everyone saw the signing, everyone was like, "Oh my god, what a fucking signing!"
Yeah.
No one said, "Oh," no one really said, "Nah, he's gonna flop. That's a bad signing." No, he costed that money. It's just bad luck. It happened.
Liverpool and United fans here are in their 50s. No, come on, don't say that, bro. Come on, no, don't. Don Perez lives, inject the super. Bro, I'm all for the Super League, bro. I said I am fully 100% for it, always. Man City is big in the US. Is it? I mean, how big is City in the US? I don't know how big City are in the US, bro. I don't know whether that's true. I mean, yes, yeah. How big are City in the US? He's still on mute. He's still on mute.
In the young generation.
No. You have to start again because we didn't hear what you said to begin. You have to start again.
No, what I said was in the younger generation, there's more. There's a lot more City fan now. Like,
so I mean, but do you see like a sizable portion of people wearing City fans?
No, I mean Arsenal, Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Chelsea.
United. Yeah, Chelsea will always dominate, but you do see a lot more City fans. You're like, hey man, what team do you support? City. Since when? Since last year. Okay, cool.
How do you know it's not Kansas City? How do you know it's not?
Oh, come on, stop it. No, London Cowboys are still making a lot of money, and they've always been very profitable. I truly admire the revenue that they make. Oh, Casey, thank you, man. Thank you, Casey, man. AJ, small clubs cry. I deserve Barca and Real weekly. Ramesh, what's the difference between an overweight woman and a Chelsea striker? Okay. All right.
Wow.
All right. We're not doing that. All right. Well, we're moving on.
Wow.
So that wasn't viewed. So let's just keep moving. AJ. HH loves big players. Okay.
Yo. Yo.
That's not funny. That's not funny. That's not funny.
I'm using that one.
And let's see. Whiskey Jackson. Streets, remember this day. This brick said it's an open hangout, but in more personal terms. Don't worry, very soon we won't have to scroll down. Man. Abdul, for or against the ESL?
First of all, HH, you know why this whole ESL thing, and I want to give a big shout out to Pablo. Your name is Pablo, right?
What?
Bro, yeah,
Paul,
shout out.
Paul.
It's Pablo.
Paul, yeah, because you're actually like one of the only ones who was bringing factual information to the table. Like a lot of people, they were just like the thing. I don't blame them though. Like Neeks and what's the other United fan called? Dr. Oz.
Yeah.
I don't blame them because what they're saying is what they're being fed by the media, but it's actually incorrect because this whole notion. Even today, HH, you tweeted, "Why are Premier League fans so against the Super League?" And the first comment was like, "Because we don't need it." But HH, you do realize that Man United's owners and Liverpool's owners, they are currently in Qatar twerking for Arab money because they can't afford to invest in their club. You do realize this. Okay. You do realize that Man United this summer was spending money on credit because it basically, HH, even Premier League clubs, the big Premier League clubs, they can't they can't afford to spend like they can't afford to spend money that they generate. They have to have investment as well. They need to have
they do need the ESL a
They
lot more
need-
than people do.
They need the ESL. The only people who don't need the ESL, HH, and HH, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, this isn't a war on Premier League. This is a war that Perez and Laporta have on oil money. It's not a war on on Premier League. It's a war on oil money, because it's oil money that is ruining it for everybody. Because HH, let's keep it a stack. What Chelsea are doing in the Premier League, they could never do in any other league. The reason why Manchester United can do what they're doing is because they are in England, not because they earn more money than us, but because the FFP in England is a joke. Look at Abdullah, he's above me, bro. His club has been abusing FFP since 2009, and they've now just been charged, finally, after 14 years,
We're not charged. We're
You've
under
been
investigation. We're
No,
under investigation.
No, you have
We're
been
under
charged.
investigation. Get it correct. We're under
No,
investigation.
you haven't been convicted, but you've been charged.
Yes.
Yes, you've been charged.
Yeah, they've been charged. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been charged after
By the
14
time,
years.
look, if we're guilty, by the time the punishments come in, Pep would have gone by then.
Yes. But HH, like my whole point is, I don't blame the EPL. I blame La Liga. I blame Serie A, because they're being extremely strict on us in an environment where
Because that's what I asked. So you feel that La Liga would have been in a better place if... Would La Liga have been in a better place if the financial restrictions were the same in the EPL?
Absolutely, HH. And I think they would be in a better place, because what La Liga are doing would work back in the 70s and in the 80s and maybe in the 90s. Because back then, HH, it was very rare that we saw these international transfers, HH. I don't know if you know this, but back in the day, it was rare that players moved leagues. There weren't that many transfers back in the day. It was
there was like one big transfer and maybe a few other ones, but transfers were not that big in the summer.
Exactly. But nowadays, it doesn't make sense that one league is very strict and then you have another league that is very loose, because it's gonna become unfair. You feel me? So this whole narrative that the Premier League don't need ESL, you do need ESL. But the way you're going about it is that, HH, let's be honest, Real Madrid and Barcelona can't just go to work for oil money. So they have to be creative. They have to find other ways of finding funds. And one way they've looked at it and looked at UEFA, bro. You're not giving us what we're worth. You are not paying us what we're worth. So what's the issue with that? Why are people crying about this? I really don't understand the issue behind it. And I do think, like, when it comes to the Premier League, a lot of Premier League clubs, they love the position they're in because they're seeing other people struggle. But these other clubs, the big misconception for me is, HH, people talk about the Southamptons and compare them to Getafe. But Getafe isn't pushing for the Super League. It's Barcelona and Real Madrid who are pushing for the Super League.
Yeah.
And Barcelona and Real Madrid make as much money as Man City and Manchester United. So this whole notion of we make more money than them, we don't want to help them out. But you're not just helping us out. You're helping yourselves out, because you're not getting what you're worth and what you're regenerating for UEFA anyway, because UEFA, they are a horrible organization, HH. They hide
we know this. We know this.
Yeah.
All right. Let me Abdallah, where you at with the ESL now?
Look, before
actually, hold on. Are you sure you won the ESL? Because if you joined, that means you would have never won the UCL. But it is what it is.
I don't really respect the UCL. I really, they tried to destroy our club. They tried to destroy the reputation. I don't care.
I knew it.
Second of all, I will never respect the Champions League. How can you finish sixth and be called the champions of Europe, yet you don't win your league in your country? This is why I respect Real Madrid.
It's a competition. No. If you're that good,
let me explain.
Why didn't you beat us in the final?
Let me explain. 1 second.
Why did you
Champions
beat
of Europe will never sing that.
This is addressed to. They are the bona fide champions of Europe. They can be called the best team in Europe
So
and the
can
best team in
Chelsea
the world
in
because they
2021.
won their league. Look, because they won their league and they won the European Cup. Therefore, they define themselves as the
Why
best
couldn't you
team
beat us
in
in
Europe
2021?
and the best team in
No,
their
no,
country.
why couldn't you beat us?
Therefore,
If
they're
you
the
were so
best
good,
team
why
in the
couldn't you
world.
beat us in 2021?
Wait,
If you
Abdullah,
were so good, why couldn't you beat us in 2021?
Abdullah, wait,
Overthinking, Tax.
are you?
Overthinking, Tax.
Wait, no, Abdullah,
Overthinking, Tax.
you raised a good point actually. So, yeah, are you saying at no point Chelsea Football Club was the best team in the world?
Never.
Listen,
Never.
so
Never.
so wait, so when
Never.
so
Never.
when Real Madrid went on a trip, they didn't win the league every year when they won 3 in a row.
Hey,
That means that they won.
don't compare yourself to Real Madrid. How dare
No,
you?
no, but
Yeah, but
that's a silly logic.
Let's hold on. Let's stay on point. Are you for or against? I don't even know why we went to
I'm
the
for it. I
legit
am for
champions.
it. I am for it. I want the Premier League to burn. I want the
Come
Premier
on,
League.
man. See, the Man City have beef with the Premier League
hold on,
anyway.
wait. You want the EPL to burn. Why do you want the EPL to burn?
I want the EPL to
They're
burn.
under
Got
investigation.
100 charges stacked up on them, man.
Oh, sorry.
And look,
Okay,
do you know what? And
okay,
anyway,
alright.
the charges weren't stick.
Okay, hold on. So I get wait, hold up. So you wanted to burn because you're guilty. All right, I get it.
No,
All right.
and my second point is, it's never going to go far because we'll sue the hell out of them. The Tories will save us because the UAE invests a lot in the UK economy, and therefore we can just blackmail them. We can just blackmail them.
Let's get to the Tories.
This is crazy talk.
Yeah, okay, Victor, talk to me. ESL 4 against the ESL. I don't know how we go into the Tories, but it is what it is. Victor,
Imagine
4
if they
against
played
the
this
ESL.
in the courts, you know, then why they get investigated.
In its current format, I'm not for it. In its current format,
Even with the 80 teams, promotion, relegation, and so forth.
80 teams, promotion. I need to see how you're determining the 80. That is it just the 80 that want to buy into this league? Is it whoever wants to be a part of it? Is it invite only? I need to see more, because yes, there will be relegation, but what does that mean? 80 teams are in and only 4 drop out, or 8 drop out? Like I need.
No, wait, they're different divisions. They're first division, second division.
There's divisions.
But
it's European conference.
Vator doesn't make it. We don't know the matrix.
Yeah, there's not enough detail. There's not enough detail for me. It's very broad from what we have.
It is. Yeah, and as you know, when I was on the show last, I get important advice, and I'm not making any decision without more information.
Where's your suit?
It's not that time right now. Okay. It's not that time right now.
Well, it might be in a few months, but keep going.
I'm calm with it though. I'm calm with whatever happens. But this ESL timing is amazing. This white paper delay is amazing. This potential new owners for Liverpool and United is amazing. It all seems so nice and convenient to be happening now.
So what dots are you connecting with the ESL timing? What's the dots you're connecting?
What dots am I connecting with new ownership?
With the timing of the ESL, as in why is the timing so suspicious or so forth?
Because United fans are comfortable and excited to know that new owners are leaving, or believing that new owners are leaving, and whether they're going to be bought out or whatever, right? And why would new owners have an issue with the ESL or choose to do it? United fans are going to be happy with new owners anyways. Liverpool fans have been dying, stressing they wanted FSG for many years. I think there's a play here with new ownership in this ESL. People are a little lax because they're giddy with new money coming in. I just want to see how things play out. I'm a man that takes a step back. I like to convey the horizon. I'm a sniper. I line things up from distance. So let me wait and see. But City were first to say, nah, we're not with this format for this ESL. Originally, City were like, nah, I don't like this. Stinks. Something doesn't smell right. Everyone else were ready to jump in. City smartly said, you know what? I'm gonna keep a toe in because I don't want to be the fear of missing out. I want to see what's going on here.
Yeah,
the outroar.
I think they had other things on their mind, like investigation and
you got
no. I'm talking about when it was first. No, I'm talking about when the ESL was first suggested, right? And then as soon
What do you mean Alcatraz?
Some
Hold on.
question.
No,
What's
Beto,
that?
your club is the mafia.
No, I didn't
That's
say
what
anything. I
it
didn't
is.
say anything. Wait, I didn't say anything.
Yeah, you got paid
Your club is a mafia. It literally
No,
is.
he's in the call. He's in the call.
Wait, hold on. Wait, do you have a teleporter or something? Wait, are you like James Victor Kirk?
If I'm going to be interrogated, you're hitting me
Bro,
with a
nobody
series
knows
of
who that is,
questions,
man.
and I was like, listen, I need to change my background because something doesn't feel right.
Like, this is like the Godfather, bro. You guys are the mafia, bro. Like,
No. We're little old city. We're the club that no one cares about. We're the club that no one rates, right? But yet we get all
You
this
keep
attention.
talking about
But
us.
Veda,
You
can I ask you a
you
question?
can't
They
keep
do,
your
right?
few words out of your mouth. You can't keep
Yeah, I know.
name
Veda,
out
can I ask
your
you a question?
mouth.
Like 100 charges is quite hard to like. Obviously, we're gonna speak about it.
I mean, 100 charges is quite a lot. 100 charges is quite a lot, but LSK.
Can I just ask Veda a question, HH? Just
Go for it. I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah, like, I love how, like, City claim that they're innocent, right? But in the last 5, because this investigation has been going on for like 4 years now, or 5 years, and in the 5 years, they haven't wanted to help the Premier League or aid them in any way in the investigation. And now that they've been charged, they're hiring the best of the best. Like, bro,
they're the
lawyer.
mafia. I'm doing the mafia.
If you was really innocent, why would
Keep
you
filling up your cards, guys. Keep filling up your cards.
See, there you go. The mafia. I'm telling you.
Okay. Wait, YSK, talk to me about the ESL for or against.
I'm for it. Purely because of the entertainment factor. Like I don't know about 80 teams and this whole league thing. Like I don't know about that. But I think it was good the last proposal. The only problems I had with the last proposal was there's the whole, it's just how do these teams get picked, and where is it like a, it's an invite and you accept to go into it. How are these top teams determined? And where in the season it's gonna be held? Like, is it gonna be spread out throughout the season?
Oh no, I think it's supposed to replace the Champions League.
Yeah,
that's the idea.
When you say replace the Champions League, does it mean like the Champions League is completely X'd out, or is the Champions League gonna?
No, let me say it this way for the new generation, right? Go back and remember WCW and WWE or WWF back then.
NWO were those dudes, man. Sting was that guy, man. Macho Man, the GOAT.
It gets real.
So, and this is where I love, and I was listening to the show earlier, I love the idea of competition. You don't want closed-off competition. You want other events to rival what's happening out there.
If not for Vince McMahon, WCW would have ruled, man. Vince McMahon, he toned it down, man. Bastard. Sorry, continue. Sorry.
He realized the competition that was coming through, and he had to evolve to keep up. And then he also realized this competition is not going anywhere and absorbed them. But so that's what I like with regards to the idea of this ESL, to go against Champions League and have them right or fix what they've been doing. But the format, I don't agree with. The format right now, I don't agree with.
Yeah,
Veta, let me counter that. So you say that you bring up the WWF and WCW. The WWE right now is the UCL, right? And you have an up and coming company in AEW, which you look at and go is the ESL basically. And there was a point, like there was a few months where it was the hottest thing in town. It was popping off. It was hitting the ratings, pay-per-views, all sorts. And now it's just died down. What if this thing just dies down after a while? Because the thing about the Champions League is...
Do you know what the key thing is? Did AEW have the most popular and famous talent within it? The ESL is going to have the biggest teams within it.
Okay, I can't believe we're actually going to wrestling.
No. Let me show my age. Why was WCW so big? It's had Hollywood Hogan, it's had a Macho Man, it's had Ultimate Warrior. So it's all of the greats from the early 90s of WWE. It's had them plus WCW. So guys were like, wait a minute. It has everyone, plus you've totally reshaped what's wrestling is, which is it's much more adult, it's darker, it's edgier, but you've also got the talent and the best possible talent, which is why WWF knew that we can't compete with these guys. Let's just crush them and absorb them. So
But
my thing is that
observe-
if you have the best talent, which is what the ESL will have, as we said before, if the Premier League teams don't join, then what the USL is going to be is pretty much FA Cup version 2.0.
What? Yeah, but Yeah, but it wasn't a case of WCW became WWE. It was Vince McMahon. He took it all. So what's not to say UEFA will end up taking it all? What's to say it won't be the UEFA European Super League at some point?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but the threat of competition is what's going to be really key here, because don't just look at the moment when and I'm gonna go old school and refer to them as WWF, because that's
Yes,
the
it's
time.
no,
That's what it
please.
was, right?
I will never call it WWE. It is called WWF. Okay, that bloody panda didn't have anything to say during those 80s and 90s. Oh, but what about the pandas? Shut up! It is the WWF, bro. When WWF was doing so good, what did that dumbass panda do? Oh, when people say WWF, they don't care about the poor panda. They don't care about wrestling. I'm sorry. World Wrestling Federation, World Wildlife Fund. That's how it is.
It doesn't matter. Either way, HH, you would have been a jobber anyway, so it doesn't matter. So.
Veso, can you just keep?
So yeah, I was just saying, they had WWF established. Let's call that Champions League. Then they had WCW, and yes, there were a few stars, but there were also people that were trying to make their name, and that's how we can kind of look at this ECL. They'll have a few stars, and they're going to try to make their name because they want to rival Champions League. I love the nature of competition because I think it just breeds and it spurs for better quality, because what will be required, like WCW, is they had to do a format that was different for what you were accustomed to. They had to do something to engage new interest and new eyeballs. So when we look at what's happening in the Champions League, when we look at what the ECL could be, there could be a different energy, a different format, a different way of engaging people into the sport. So I like it, but the format needs to change. If it doesn't include all of the greats, I don't even think that would be a problem. If not all the big clubs decide to join, that might not be a problem.
The Champions League is changing the format as well, so
yes,
they
are.
But just quickly, the interesting thing for me is that, during these last 2 years, where it's been Juventus, Real Madrid, and Barca fighting this, they've taken a lot of risk by fighting this because UEFA, they came with a lot of threats, and the only three that didn't back down were those three, and they fought it in court. And by fighting it in court, had they lost in court, UEFA would have fined them, banned them, done everything. Like apparently Real Madrid, they put money to side because if they had lost in court and been banned from the Champions League, so they could still survive. But
that's why that cost ruling was very key.
But my point is, my point is just quickly. All these clubs, English clubs, they all signed a valid contract to be a part of the Super League when they initially joined. And it's been rumored heavily, that to get out of this contract, you have to pay a big fine to the Super League. A big fine to the Super League,
Which they still haven't paid.
Yeah, and I heard 300 per contract. I heard 300 M's. 300 million, bro.
Stop it.
I swear, bro, I heard 300 million. And the thing is, had the Super League lost in court and had UEFA won and won the battle and said, okay, this is illegal to do, of course they wouldn't have had to pay it. But now that it's actually legal and these contracts are now valid in European law, what are we saying now? Like, are they forced to come in?
Someone's going to be very rich. Wait, hold on. When it comes to J2 West, I pray that hashtag comes to slap you in your face in the summer. So, oh my God in heaven! Wow.
They call him Sheikh happening, guys. It's happening. Be excited. Things are happening.
Sheikh Hag, man. Sheikh Hag.
Yeah, they call him Sheikh. Things are happening.
That actually rings well. Sheikh Hag. All right, wait, no. So hold on, Jason. Sorry, Jason. Before you go, because I heard him say it. I didn't say it. I heard him say it.
Oh my God.
All right, Jesus, can you please grab the mic very quickly?
Hag baby, man.
European Super League.
Habibi.
No, it's Hag baby.
J2S, please.
I was going to say out to Tory Jennings and Mark Goldridge for them crying on Twitter and stuff. and there are brilliant YouTube videos saying why the Super League is detrimental for football. But Chelsea have spent over 700 million, I believe, and with this 300 million fine, it's going to hit $1 billion. So.
Jason, relax. We didn't sign anything. But we didn't sign anything.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you dipped out after Man City did, so I'm pretty sure you signed the contract. I mean, your Russian boy, Abramovich, signed the contract, so...
Yeah, that was Abramovich. He doesn't count with Bowling now.
Yeah, it's different. No.
It's different ownership, man.
Are you with Europe? Are you with the league, though? Are you with the ESL, though?
Yeah, I'm for the ESL. It's just a better version of the Champions League. And we actually know, well, we supposedly know where the money's going to go because God knows what UEFA does with it. They're probably splashing it in all sorts of places, like strip clubs, yachts, all that
Why
kind of stuff.
Why did he have to go then? Why did he have to go?
Have you seen it?
Why are they not giving it to the poor or so
forth? All they do. Have you seen the guy that does the draw?
If they did good things with the money, they would publicize it. They would hide it.
They've got too much money.
Because I'm just like, you know that guy with the glasses that does the draw who spends 100 years. How much money is he pocketing? Because I'm sure that seriously, all you do is explain and pull out those things. That's it, and you earn what? How much? Something is up, man.
You know, when I first saw him, I thought it was Claudio Ranieri. You know, they look the same.
Bro, I'm saying.
No, obviously,
you know how much I hate that guy, bro. He gives us fine every year, bro. He gives us fine every year.
He has to get paid. No, it's like
how much is that guy getting paid just to pull out a ball? Basically, first of all, it's the same. You know, the rules don't change.
Not real, though.
It's the same.
You are reading off a prompter every single year, and then you say, "Hey, this is how you put it," and you get paid what, 100 million?
Bro, has
Listen, I want to see that guy's payslip.
And they messed it up last year.
Remember? He messed it up last year too.
Has everyone noticed the amount of ex-Chelsea players are in these draws?
Yeah,
J West.
Yeah, the European Super League, I see it as a good thing for football because then you'll see the other leagues come into play. So Serie A it's a joke league when you look at it. I mean, God knows what Juve have been doing.
Yeah, you've been cheated and it's still running. So
they're facing prison time or so.
Bro, if that 300 mil payout is correct, man, these dudes might have to liquidate, man. They might have to get dissolved.
Wait, hold on. No. Juve are still in it. So if the 300 mil comes through, that can be for bail money or for lawyers to get out of prison.
Juventus are not living. Juventus. They were signed.
Wait, hold on. So Kenny, so ESL for or against ESL, Kenny?
Yeah, no, obviously I don't. I think like, a lot of people, especially in England, they have is that idea of like they saw that first one. They saw like the closed league. And I think some of them, they're just stuck in that mindset, like, nah, I don't want it. Like, they don't even want to hear about it no more. But honestly, I mean, I don't mind, like, because it's just to replace the Champions League. I think people are thinking that people are just going to leave the Premier League. Like, Premier League is still there. It's just to replace Champions League. And obviously, I get some club because basically the Champions League is UEFA is like a middleman. They just like obviously they have the UEFA, but like they're taking a lot of money out of the club. So the club is like, we can create the same competition as the Champions League. And instead of getting the UEFA gain like probably 80% of the revenue,
yes,
we get
I don't know sharing.
Wait,
they're not sharing.
They're not sharing it. The clubs are like
bring up Sonny's comment, please.
Oh God. Okay, so can you continue? So okay.
But yeah, so basically the club are like, yo, we might as well run it ourselves and get the full revenue and share it amongst us. So yeah, obviously the only thing I don't know is like who's gonna be the obviously because Perez and I think it was like the Man United guy. Yeah.
Juve.
So I don't know like how are they gonna share the money and all that stuff for me. But if they do it properly, I don't see why.
Okay.
For me, it's a good idea.
Cabritz, talk to me. I'll come to you, Paul. Let me come to Cabritz and come to you, Paul. Cabritz, your thoughts?
I think it's good for y'all can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Clear.
I think it's good for it's good for European football. Like this would help teams like Benfica, Dortmund, Porto, those type of teams because you don't lie, HH. Those Premier League teams be bullying them with money. Those teams,
yeah,
they be bullying them with money. I want to see teams like Valencia back like they used to be. It's a crime that teams like Nottingham Forest is spending more money than all these big teams. It doesn't make sense.
With no Champions Leagues. But if
With
you
no
European
Nothing.
Cups.
No, they have two.
Nothing got
Actually,
from us like a European Cup. Like, come
they
on,
have,
some
they have
respect
two
on that.
European Cups. Respect
You know
Yeah,
what
like,
Difference,
you know what the
difference.
smart
It's
thing
different.
Same,
is.
same as your Bama's team. Same as your Bama's
You know what the
Cabritz,
smart thing is.
Cabritz has the microphone. Cabritz has the mic. Cabritz.
Yeah, with more money, like if a team like Dortmund is in ESL, now they have a better chance to fight in the league against Bayern because let's be honest, they're just selling their players. They don't have no money. There's a lot of these leagues where like I said, Benfica, I mean they're winning their league, but they can't compete in UCL because they're losing money. They don't have money.
Actually, for guys obviously are in America and so forth, how does it work in the NBA? Is the money just spread all around and so forth? And so forth. How does the revenue work in the NBA with the 30 teams? Does anyone know?
I mean they have salary cap.
Yeah, I think the money is spread around with the TV deals and stuff like that. It's spread around.
Okay.
But HH, you know why it's a smart thing? Because with the ESL, they're going to do like a financial fair play for everybody in the ESL, because UEFA apparently have an FFP, but it's a freaking joke. It's never enforced. So what the ESL can do like an FFP, and then everybody in the ESL will be under the same FFP, because the whole league FFP, it doesn't make any sense, bro. Because every league has their own FFP, and it becomes a joke. Like, look at England. You know, the funny thing is, people think Nottingham Forest can spend how they spend because they make all this money. They can spend what they spend because FFP in England is a joke, bro. Because there is no way they've earned enough to sign 30 players when they've only been in the Prem for like 5 months, bro. They signed 30 players, by the way.
That's actually wild.
Wait, hold on. Let me come to Quab, and I want to get some dubs. Quab, talk to me. Where were you at with the ESL?
Yeah, it's the only problem I have with this, I support it, but the only problem I have with this is that just imagine in the next, let's say, like 30 years, and a kid comes up to you and say, "Oh, Barca has no history because they've never won the Super League."
Imagine Real Madrid, the 14 UCLs, nothing of that.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's no. But as I said again, like I recognize the European Cup overall, but if it comes to Chelsea, I don't recognize the European Cup. So I only recognize the European Cup to fit my argument. So it is what it is. So that's what's going to happen. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, so one suggestion I would say is that it should be like a continuation of the Champions League, in the sense that if, let's say, the Super League comes and let's say like Barca wins it, it should be like Barca has like 6 European titles or something. Like it should be like added to it. It shouldn't be the case that all this history that Madrid has had, Barca, Chelsea, should be erased just because of the Super League. So that's my only problem with it. And let I have a problem with all these content creators, the Gold Bridges and the Rory and all these people ranting and all this nonsense. The thing is, if the Super League comes, are they gonna stop making content? That's my question.
No. But see,
they won't.
Guys like guys like Rory Jordings and all these dudes, man. It's I think they're doing it because again, it's sort of what Abdul said.
It's fashionable.
It's like they feel like if you have to, because you've been fed that. Because you know what I've always said, your league doesn't stop. This doesn't threaten your league. This is an alternative not to your national league. It's an alternative to the Champions League. So the idea that we have saved football, this is trying to destroy football and everything. Have you actually read what this is about, or are you just doing it because you just want to protect the Premier League at all costs? I can see, and the key thing is that for a lot of these people, so there are 2 types of fans. I've always said there's the tribal fan and the football fan. The football fan has a global view of like, we live on planet Earth. There's a world that actually exists outside of Prince Charles Island. But then for the tribal fan, it's this hive mentality and tribe mentality. No, protect this and so forth. What's this whole European thing and so forth? So where's like, it doesn't threaten your bloody league, bro.
You know what?
It's not only Prem fans, to be honest.
You know what?
La Liga is the same. Liga is the same.
Yeah.
It's just fucking same.
No, but I'm just responding to him saying about Rory Jennings and Mark Goldbridge.
But the funny thing is that, and it's just so hilarious to me because what was the problem that most people had, especially English people? What was the biggest issue they had with the Super League back 2 years ago? It was the no relegation. It
No
was
promotion.
it was the automatic qualification,
Mm.
and it was a couple more things. All of them, HH, have been addressed and changed, and they still don't want it.
No, because my weird thing is that because I saw the tweets from Roy Jennings. Oh, the Super League is back. We now have to fight again. Hold up. Have you actually read it? So basically, you're already against it before even reading it. So already like, because do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? Whatever they do, because fans think they won. When no fans, you didn't do anything. You didn't win anything because they feel they've won. It feels like a sense of ownership. Oh no, this shows the strength of the fans against the mighty and so
It's
forth.
like when United fans thinking that when they go out of the street, the Glazers are like,
Yes, it's
it's
like,
like
oh my
when
gosh, I
people
had the
don't care
fans
about
and I got stopped.
Governments don't care about riots as long as they're not violent
It's
or
true.
something crazy.
Everybody wants to be empowered. Everybody wants to feel empowered, like they have influence. And I'm sorry, fans, you don't have as much influence as you think you have. Because my thing, though, is, as you say, someone said, if the ESL comes, you're not going to create content to cover the ESL? You're just going to cover the Premier League?
HH, they're hypocrites. Of course, they're going to make content.
That's hurting their pockets.
Look at the World Cup. Look how many people.
Yeah, the World Cup.
Look how much Gary Neville and all these guys had a problem with the World Cup being hosted in Qatar. They all ended up taking jobs working for Qatar.
Of course they did.
Qatar.
No, listen. If the ESL is there, you see the marketing, the hype, and so forth. Are you not going to be like, nah, I'm only going to do Chelsea against Bournemouth and Chelsea against the real hardcore of the EPL, man? Forget. I'm like, okay, cool. The other creator is going to do that and gain a lot more views and a lot more money than you.
But the thing that's funny is that every time they say like greed is like these people are businessmen. Obviously, they want to make more money. Obviously, you want to make more money. Like people are acting as if this is like we're living
That's
in.
how the money goes. Wait, hold on. Let me hit and come to you, Paul. Alhambra, the decision for a club to participate in the ESL requires battling the respective leagues and FAs with huge disincentives. Only way for ESL to be legit is under UEFA with respective FA blessing. The courts. So if the ESL goes through, does the Premier League have a legal right to sanction said club? No. And as we've seen from the courts, they don't. So let's say the ESL comes through and United join, and the Premier League says, okay, United, we're going to throw you out of the EPL. They can go to court and say, sorry, you can't do that.
Reminded me, AJ, bro. Tebas today made Barcelona and Real Madrid unable to vote and participate in all La Liga meetings.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a response, and he said,
they can't punish you.
By the way, I want to say this. I want to know so people are aware.
Wait, hold on. Just someone dubs and it comes. Just someone dubs. And speaking of WWF, HH looks. Oh, stop it. I don't look like Virgil. Relax. I don't look like Virgil. Don't do that to me. Don't do that. I am not a Virgil, bro. Shout out to $1 Million Man Teddy Biasi though. Kristaps, this year my Latvian team RFS qualified for the Conference League. Hey, Roma, Uncle Mo, Roma. That's Dodd. It was the first European football we had in Riga in 10 years. We played Fiorentina and tied. Haven't been so happy in ages. Super League will destroy that.
No.
It's literally.
Can I ask Christoph HH?
One thing that's will it?
No, let's be.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me come to Paul and yes, Paul.
Can I ask him a question?
Because I said I was going to go to Paul and I'll come to you. Paul.
I just wanted to say two things, but first I'll take my take here. And it will not. Instead of being called Conference League, you will be on the fourth division of European Super League, and you will receive more earnings, and you will have more potential to grow. So
Eighth division.
You don't know that happiness because it hasn't happened. Having said that, I was going to say, look, the reason all these English bandits and all these people and the Spanish are different because and I can tell you because I know this, most of them are clueless and are ignorant and the media controls them, and I can absolutely assure you that. But anyways, the reason English bandits are against this is because they have an agenda, and the agenda is pro Premier League not pro Premier League, pro top 6 clubs, and pro top 6 clubs mean we don't want to have the competition because we want to be the elite. Okay, United doesn't want, Liverpool doesn't want to share their pie with Bournemouth. Do you really think they want? They don't want to say. City doesn't want to do that as well. No, top six clubs don't want to share anything. No one does. No one does. The reason the Super League wants is because they see it's the only way. For them is the lesser evil. Let's say. Wait. It's just that, as Abdul said, in the Super League there will be actual financial fair play. So that will fuck up all the operating on losses that the Premier League is doing. That's why they didn't want it, because the formula they're doing it to grow will not be permitted.
And also, so because I got to yesterday, well, Paul, another point, there was actually initial pushback from Newcastle's owners. Initially, they didn't actually want those guys to come through, because what they want is to keep it small, but it's growing. But what they want to keep it is it's top six, but it's no longer a top six, it's a top seven. Newcastle are here. Newcastle are legitimately, and they have money. What if someone wants to get Southampton or Brighton?
Spurs? What if Newcastle win a trophy before Spurs? I mean, what are we saying then?
No. J2S, even the Everton, Tottenham are still based on their stadium. Stadium tax. Stadium tax.
Imagine.
So Yassi, what's his name? Yassi. And then Abdul.
Side note, imagine Tottenham had to repay that $330 million. Imagine Dan Levy is not paying that. Anyways, no, but then here's the thing, and this is the thing that a lot of football fans need to understand is, bro, politics also are involved in football as well. This is football politics. This is the English, the reason, let me tell you this. The reason why the Super League didn't happen for the English side of things had nothing to do with the fans and their protests, all that stuff. It had to do with the big corporations such as Sky and BT Sport that did the media coverage of no Super League. And what ends up happening is when people watch Sky and BT Sports, all the average people that's watching it's like they're puppets. They get influenced by it. And that's the reason why the Super League didn't happen. It's not about some 100 people going outside and just screaming. Come on, guys, do you think these owners don't care about that kind of stuff? No. It's about the big corporation that cuts a check, which is the TV corporations. You don't want to piss off the TV corporation because they're the ones who signed the check. They're the Sky, BT. Those are the guys you don't want to mess with. And the thing is, the Super League can easily deal with that. All you have to do is go into an agreement with Sky and BT, and they will show it. And that was the issue with the whole Super League in England. And one thing I'll say about the Super League, the reason why I'm more for it is, let's be honest, we all see what's going on in the English pyramid. There's clubs that are actually becoming bankrupt. There's clubs that are actually non-existent at this point. Let's not forget what happened to Derby County. Derby County got penalized for actually investing in their own club. They got penalized. They actually got relegated because of it. They got deducted 25 plus points. Something crazy like that. So this notion of we're protecting these lower league teams, all that stuff is complete and utter nonsense.
So last time we'll put out of here. Abdul, what do you want to say?
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
All right, let me quickly hit this, and then last things will be So Alhambra, thank you for the dope. HH expanded this debate beyond clubs. What happens to national teams and participation in the World Cup and Euros? You're going against a federation under FIFA. Will this affect national teams though?
No, they already, because FIFA wanted a ban and all this, but the Real Madrid already said they don't have the right to just ban.
So listen, because they already lost this in court because FIFA, I think, wanted to threaten them with sanctions. You're not competing in the World Cup.
The whole point is of the whole court, why they went to court to begin with. It was because UEFA tried shutting the ESL down, but that went against UEFA's the European Union's rules about a fair market and the monopoly. That you can't monopolize the market, because you can't just shut down every competition that anybody else want to make. So at the end of the day, honestly, I think it will happen, but I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with the English clubs, because I do agree that the English clubs, they play a big role in the success of the ESL. Even though, bro, honestly, English people, they like to overhype the products. The Premier League, you have to take your hat off and say they've done a brilliant job, bro.
Oh, great! Superb in marketing, yeah.
But HH, to say that they don't need the ESL is a lie because
No. But Abdul, the points we made is that let's say all the teams make the ESL and the Premier League say no, and now the Premier League, what European competition do you have? Like FA Cup version
The Champions
2.0.
League, yeah.
Yeah, so my thing though is no, Jason, you can shake it, but it's FA Cup version 2.0. So my thing though is that ESL will be far more attractive.
Exactly.
And I think even the owners will be saying to themselves that would it necessarily making any sense of us, because at the end of the day, what will get more numbers?
Yeah.
A match between Barcelona and Bayern, or a match between United and Bournemouth.
Yeah.
You know, because obviously United and City, that'll be big and so forth. But here's the thing. I don't care what anyone says. The biggest numbers you're going to get is Champions League.
Exactly.
PSG against Bayern, you're going to see how big those numbers are. You know, and this is another key thing as well. No matter how much money Premier League has, if you're from Brazil or Argentina, because of Ronaldo, Romario, Messi, and so forth, you have a natural inclination for Real and Barcelona. So there's no amount of money that can be able to tempt those guys from going to those clubs.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like Meek says, "Oh, do you want to see Barcelona, Man United?" Like 100 times. At the end of the day, it's going to be Barcelona, Man United twice a year instead of twice every 5 or 10 years, which makes sense. Like, who's going to say no twice a year?
It's twice a year.
Yeah,
but
it's 100 times. It's twice a year.
That's gonna have to be the new Champions League format anyway.
Yeah.
Right, but everyone says like, no, you're gonna see the same teams all over, and it's like twice a year. I mean, it's not that much, really.
But Paul, you know what I don't mind. You know what I don't mind. I don't mind watching Brighton versus Sassuolo. I don't mind watching
But you're gonna have that as well.
20
You can have that as
yeah,
well.
20 versus whatchamacallit, the team 20 versus Union Berlin. Like I won't mind seeing that. That's more entertaining, bro. Instead of seeing the same thing over and over again, and then it gets boring. Like
basically, my thing though is, here's the thing: it's a war between tradition and innovation. It's what it is. It's tradition and innovation. There are guys that just want, because the Premier League, hey, it's the thing again, home and away, Southampton, and again, and there are guys who are like, oh, how can we improve this? How can we make this better? How can we sort of make this exciting without taking away the heart and soul and core of football and so forth? And my thing though is, if we can get these teams of the best, because for me, as a football fan, I want to see the best against the best. I want to see parity, because the thing that's in the issue with the National League is 9 times out of 10, that top 6 team is going to beat that bottom 3 team. Once in a blue moon, there'll be a massive shock, which is fair enough. But why do we like the Champions League? Who knows who's going to win? Liverpool and Real Madrid, Liverpool have been horrible. It's still going to be a close game, because it's Liverpool and Real Madrid and one of the clubs that PSG are trash right at the moment, but it's still PSG banned. So, and Barcelona, Man United, who knows? But it's Barcelona, Man United. But if Barcelona against Girona, or it's freaking Man United against Scunthorpe, come on, bro. Shout out to Scunthorpe and so forth. But I think that you cannot deny that for the global fan, that ESL product, based on those teams, will be popping off. Let me hit this and we'll be out of here. Kristaps. And for anything that gets smaller clubs in smaller nations like mine more international games.
Yeah.
Thanks for Paul, if the last guy explaining. Look.
Thank you for being so kind, Kristaps.
And you know, just before you shut it off,
because everyone makes money. The smaller clubs will be able to make a lot more money in this system. That's the key.
And it's not just that as well. Paul, the ESL, what they want to do, HH, is they want guaranteed money. They want it so that it's 14 games no matter what.
And it's not the case where the winner of the Champions League gets less money than 17th place in the EPL.
Exactly. They want it so, because right now in European competitions, you can play 2 games in the qualifiers, 6 games, or 13 games if you go to the final. But if you do that, your revenue becomes less predictable. You feel me? It's very important if, like, for your economy, that we have 14 games here. So your revenue becomes more predictable. It's better for your finances that your revenue is predictable. 14 games every year guaranteed.
No, Abdul, and I'll also say this: like, forget about Real Madrid, Juve, Barcelona. Let's put those guys to a side one moment. The clubs that I'm actually thinking about is the Shakhtar Donetsk, the Sporting Lisbons, the Ajax, where these guys are historically great clubs, but they cannot compete. Unfortunately, they cannot compete with even Brighton. Like that's the thing. Like they can't even compete with Brighton. So it's like, how are you?
Because my thing is, you have to create an ecosystem that generates a lot of money. And that ecosystem is the ESL, not the Champions League.
That's the thing.
Because my thing with the Champions League, okay, you're saying, oh, it's so bad and so forth. How are you helping a Monaco and Ajax, a Sporting Lisbon? Because Ajax, these guys have one of the best youth systems in the world, historically. But they can't keep the guys because it keeps going. But an ESL, based on the ecosystem of the money it produces, means that Ajax, you get to benefit of your youth system because you can actually afford to pay that money to that young player that you've helped develop through your own blood, sweat, and tears. But in this current format, with how it is, you can't keep them because you can't afford to pay them the amount of money. Like, obviously now, that young player may still have a dream of, I want to play for Real Madrid because. But I'll be real with you. Did Enzo want to go to Chelsea because it's Chelsea? Or did he want to go because I'm going to triple my salary?
Yeah.
But it's just one last thing. I think the biggest issue I think the ESL are gonna face is that some clubs are actually just stubborn, because I'm genuinely concerned about how are they gonna get German clubs, because
they won't.
The thing with German,
I don't think they can.
Yeah, because the thing with clubs like Dortmund, they are happy being a selling club now, bro.
Yeah.
They are happy never winning a trophy.
Well, no, because that's what's weird. Because, sorry, it may sound virtuous. The 50+1 rule doesn't make any sense. Do you know what the 50+1 rule is? It's like it's something just to make you feel good. In actuality, it makes no sense, because what has 50+1 shown? 10 in a row. So 50+1 rule has ended up in 10 in a row, which is stupid. Yeah. Whereas proper competitors, where the money is all streamlined and everybody can eat out of the pie and so forth, means that you can't get 10 in a row. So why are you championing 50? Because you know what 50+1 is? Tradition against innovation. 50+1 is ours. It's our tradition. It's our culture, and we're going to fight for it, even if it's actually fighting against you. And it actually means that you have no chance in hell of touching Bayern Munich. But because it's tradition, you fight for it. Guys, we have to get out of here because we know. So, guys, look, we'll talk more about this thing on the Saturday Hangouts and so forth, man. But it's been so, guys. I'll see you guys I'll see you guys tomorrow for the preview show tomorrow and so forth. Ow! It's coming back. Peace out. Stay true. Peace.